Then, they checked Lin Xian's cultivation and were all dumbstruck. Song Tian's cultivation was really only at the level of a 5-star king. But how was this possible? How could a 5-star king realm cultivator dare to provoke the innocent family? There were many experts from the Liang clan here, and there were even quite a few 6-star kings. In other words, even 5-star king tiers weren't powerful enough here. Even ordinary 6-star kings didn't have any hope against the Liang family. They thought that since Lin Xian dared to openly defy the Liang clan, he must be an expert, at least an elite among the 6-star kings. But they didn't expect that not only was the other party not an elite genius, but he wasn't even a 6-star king. He was just a small 5-star king. Such a person dared to defy the Liang clan? Kid, I'll remember you. When we leave the Purple Cloud Palace later, I'll kill you with one slap. The innocent family martial artists sneered, their eyes filled with killing intent. They wouldn't let go of someone who dared to openly defy them. If it weren't for the rules of the Purple Cloud Palace, they would have gone up and killed him with one slap. Lin Xian put down the wine cup in his hand and slowly stood up. Out of the Purple Cloud Palace? No need to go through so much trouble. I'll accept your challenge now. What? Accept the Liang clan's challenge? Is this kid crazy? He actually wants to attack the Liang clan. Does he know what kind of existence the Liang clan is? Where did this silly kid come from? I don't think he's from the North region. He's definitely not from the North region. In the North region, everyone knows of the Liang clan's existence. Everyone discussed, shaking their heads and sighing. The Liang clan martial artists sneered, "Kid, you really don't know what's good for you. Since you're in a hurry to die, we'll fulfill your wish." On the other side, Lin Xian waved his hand and tossed out a large number of subdivine crystals to buy the battle quota. Then, his figure swayed and came to Lu Mingyue's side. "Leave the rest to me." "Okay." Lu Mingyue nodded and left the battle area to watch the battle. What? They're actually in cahoots. Seeing this scene, everyone was in an uproar. They originally thought that Lin Xian was just a silly kid, but they didn't expect that Lin Xian was actually related to Lu Mingyue, and it seemed that the two of them knew each other. I was wondering where this silly kid came from. It turns out that he wants to be a hero and save the damsel in distress. But it's a pity that being a hero and saving the damsel in distress requires strength. Otherwise, you'll only be a coward. The Liang clan martial artist sneered, "Kid, since you know that which, that's great. I'll kill both of you today. I want to let the world know the consequences of offending our Liang clan." Lin Xian sneered, "So much nonsense. Who's going first?" As soon as he finished speaking, he directly ignored those Liang clan martial artists outside and stared at Elder Liang instead. No way. Is he going to attack Elder Liang? Everyone's scalp went numb when they saw this scene. This kid is too reckless, isn't he? How dare you? The Liang clan martial artists roared, "Kid, with your status, you want to challenge our elder? You're really reckless. I can deal with you alone." A young man walked out of the crowd with a cold gaze and stared at Lin Xian. "Elder, let me kill him," the young man said quickly. Hearing this, Elder Liang nodded slightly. Indeed, with his status, it was still acceptable if he wanted to deal with Lu Mingyue. If he attacked a 5-star king, he would probably be laughed at. Moreover, he disdained to attack a 5-star king. Therefore, even if he spent a lot of money to buy a battle spot, he would silently allow it. After getting Elder Liang's approval, the cold young man quickly bought a battle spot. Then, he sneered and went to the battle area. "Kid, you're really reckless. I'll kill you with my own hands now. I'll let you know the consequences of offending our Liang clan." The cold young man was really too excited. In such a scene, if he could easily kill the other party, it would definitely shock everyone. He might even gain the favor of the elder, and his status in the Liang clan would be greatly improved. This could be said to be killing many birds with one stone. Chapter 1829. The gloomy youth was very excited. Fortunately, he had acted quickly. Otherwise, this precious opportunity would have been snatched away by others. Sure enough, many youths from the Liang family shook their heads and sighed with gloomy expressions. Damn it, we were too slow. This was because they also wanted to seize this opportunity to stand out. However, They were one step too slow and had been snatched away by the other party. How could they know that this wasn't an opportunity to become famous at all? Instead, it was an opportunity to get close to the Grim Reaper. Whoever snatched this spot would probably end up very miserably. This was because Lin Xian's strength was even more terrifying than Lu Mingyue's. Kid, are you going to kneel and accept your death? Or do you want me to forcefully break your legs? The gloomy youth revealed a sinister smile. Lin Xian had an impatient look on his face. He had one hand behind his back and the other extended forward in a provocative gesture. Come, I'll let you use one hand. What? Let him use one hand? The surrounding cultivators widened their eyes. They felt as if they were dreaming. As for the gloomy youth from the Liang family, he was even more furious. He had never been looked down upon like this before. You're courting death. With a furious roar, the gloomy youth's body exploded. He turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly charged towards Lin Xian. He waved his fists, carrying surging power. They were like a mountain as they ruthlessly smashed towards Lin Xian. Not to mention a 5-star king, even a 6-star king wouldn't be able to withstand this punch. Therefore, in his opinion, this move was enough to kill the other party. Boom. However, facing the gloomy youth's strength, Lin Xian's action was very simple. He immediately slapped him across the face. Pa. The next moment, a crisp sound rang out in the air. The gloomy youth was directly sent flying, screaming in pain. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbfounded. They didn't expect that the gloomy youth would be sent flying with a single slap. How was this possible? Although the gloomy youth's battle prowess wasn't on the same level as the Liang family's young master, he was still a 6-star king. Killing a 5-star king could be said to be an easy task. However, he was actually sent flying with a single slap. Moreover, the other party was only a 5-star king. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have dared to believe it. Even though they had seen it with their own eyes, they still couldn't believe it. On the other hand, the Liang family was in an even greater uproar. Those martial artists were all frowning, and their faces were gloomy. Damn it! What is that guy doing? He can't even take care of a 5-star king? How embarrassing. If I had known, I would have let me go. Those people were extremely displeased because they'd already lost enough face, yet they'd never imagined that they'd actually be slapped in public by a 5-star king. If they didn't take revenge for this, they wouldn't have the face to live anymore. Stand up and fight back. Kill him. Damn it, what are you doing? Can you do it? If not, let me do it. Angry roars rang out one after another. Those young disciples of the Liang clan couldn't help but want to attack. The gloomy youth in front of him was sent flying with a single slap. More than half of the bones in his body were shattered. He was incomparably crazy. The next moment, he gritted his teeth and wanted to stand up and fight back. But very soon, he was stunned, and even his expression became incomparably terrified. Damn it, that's impossible. Where's my power? What did you do to me? Although Lin Xian's previous slap had seriously injured him, it wasn't enough to make him lose the ability to fight. But now, he actually didn't have a trace of power. What was going on? What happened? The surrounding cultivators were extremely puzzled because they didn't know what had happened at all. Meanwhile, the gloomy youth stared fixedly at Lin Xian and roared crazily, "Damn it! You crippled my cultivation." What? Everyone was stunned. A 5-star king had easily crippled a 6-star king's cultivation? How was that possible? But this scene really happened in front of them. At this moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian and sucked in a cold breath. They knew that they'd underestimated this young man in front of them, since he could become companions with that mysterious woman and had the confidence to continue challenging the Liang clan. This meant that his strength was definitely incomparably powerful, and he wasn't even inferior to that mysterious woman. It was laughable that they'd mocked his cultivation and even thought that he was crazy. Now, it seemed that he wasn't crazy at all because he had the strength. Crippling a 6-star king with a slap wasn't something that just anyone could do. It had to be an extremely powerful expert to be able to do it. The Liang clan's cultivators also widened their eyes, not daring to believe the scene in front of them. The hearts of those young disciples trembled, but they also felt a trace of relief. Fortunately, They weren't the ones who stood out previously. Otherwise, they would be the ones crippled now. As for Elder Liang, his expression was gloomy and cold. He didn't expect the Liang clan to suffer another blow. The next moment, he strode forward, looked at the gloomy youth kneeling on the ground, and snorted coldly. Useless trash. The Liang clan has lost all face because of you. After saying that, he raised his leg and kicked the other party away. The next moment, he stared at Lin Xian. Good boy, I didn't expect you to be hiding your strength. However, since you dared to provoke the Liang clan, I won't let you off. And that demonic woman of yours, I'll kill you all together. Is your Liang clan all talk big? Lin Xian sneered. You can kill me if you want, but do something. Otherwise, it'll only be your Liang clan that will be slapped in the face. After saying that, Lin Xian put away his smile and took a step forward. A sharp sword light rushed out of his body and swept forward. Whoosh! Facing this cold sword chi, everyone was terrified, and their bodies trembled. They realized that they had indeed underestimated their opponent. This sword chi was too tyrannical, and they couldn't resist it at all. On the opposite side, Elder Liang also narrowed his eyes. Boy, you've indeed hidden your strength. But so what? Today, I'll let you know the true strength of the Liang clan. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying aura also surged out of the middle-aged man's body and spread in all directions. Ka. In an instant, the auras of the two people clashed in the air, creating an intense collision that sounded like a thunderclap. This aura directly alarmed the other cultivators in the hall. There are experts fighting. Instantly, countless people gathered in this direction. They were too excited because just from the aura alone, they could tell that the people fighting were definitely super experts. This kind of battle was not something that could be seen all the time. Therefore, they all rushed over to watch the battle. Not only that, but a few terrifying figures also appeared nearby. A hazy figure appeared with a bright light, as if she was the goddess of moonlight. What? That's the saintess of the moon-worshipping sect. She's here too. Seeing that hazy figure, everyone cried out in alarm. When the others found out, they were even more shocked. They didn't expect that this battle would attract a saintess to watch it. The moon-worshipping sect was an unparalleled sect in the eastern wilderness, and they were very powerful. They didn't expect their saintess to appear here. Chapter 1830. The Reverence Moon Saintess was covered in moonlight. Her entire body was blurry, and no one could see through her. However, this mysterious feeling aroused everyone's curiosity. Boom! However, at this moment, another enormous aura surged forth. It was as if a huge mountain had suddenly descended. It was a tall young man, and he looked like a god of war. Every step he took was filled with an aura that could crush the heavens. The four symbols Holy Sun is here too. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the four symbols Holy Fingers to appear after the Reverence Moon Saintess. What's going on? Why are there so many holy suns and saintesses here? Could it be that something big has happened in the North region? Everyone was discussing. Crack, crack. On the other side, countless bolts of lightning surrounded a purple figure in the void. He was like a god of thunder, standing on a thundercloud and looking down. The thousand lightning holy sun. Heavens, the third holy sun has appeared. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that a battle would attract so many top-notch peerless experts. Those were the holy suns and saintesses, the most powerful existences in the younger generation. Usually, they would not have the chance to see them. Now, not only did they see them, but they also saw three of them. Everyone was discussing, and their hearts were pounding. But soon, they shifted their gazes because the battle was about to begin. Lin Xian was like a peerless divine sword, extremely sharp. Countless sword lights surrounded his body, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. His whole person was extremely sharp. That terrifying aura shrouded the entire space. Elder Liang snorted coldly, and his robe fluttered. He was like a peerless god of war that had descended to the mortal world. Go to hell. Elder Liang roared and punched out. The terrifying fist condensed in the air, and it was like 100,000 mountains and slammed down. Lin Xian's eyes were also focused. He waved his arm, and rays of sword light flashed and rushed forward. Sword chi soared into the sky, and each ray of sword light contained peerless killing intent. The surrounding martial artists were shocked, and they exclaimed. That was because the sword chi was too terrifying. Even the reverence moon saintess, the thousand lightning holy sun, and the others looked solemn. Who is this kid? How can he be so fierce? The reverence moon saintess whispered to herself. On the other side, the myriad thunder saint's eyes flickered. This was because he felt a sense of familiarity from these sharp sword energies. However, he wasn't completely sure. Boom! The two forces collided and suddenly exploded. Terrifying energy surged. However, at this moment, Lin Xian attacked again. The demon sword soared through the air and slashed down with great force. The black sword chi was like a mountain, as if it could split the heavens and earth. Not only that, there were 6 different colored sword chis flashing behind him, quickly combining and interweaving. It formed a sword diagram that shrouded the area ahead. That sword diagram was incomparably terrifying. It blossomed with exquisite radiance, instantly enveloping Elder Liang. What a terrifying sword diagram! Seeing this scene, everyone felt their scalps go numb. Even the expressions of the experts who had looked down on him earlier changed. This was because they realized that the sword diagram was truly too terrifying. If they were to go against him, they wouldn't be able to resist at all. He would most likely be killed in an instant. No one dared to look down on Lin Xian anymore, even though the cultivation base he was currently displaying was still that of a 5-star king. Scram! Elder Liang roared angrily. He looked at the sword diagram that was descending from the sky, his entire being incomparably furious. Boom! His fist blasted out, carrying a supreme domineering aura. The terrifying fists were like meteorites, rushing straight into the sky. Boom! Boom! These fists were too terrifying. They quickly collided with the sword diagram, producing violent fluctuations. The two sides clashed and were in a deadlock. Seeing this scene, the Liang family's cultivators all heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, their elder Liang was able to resist this terrifying sword diagram. Otherwise, if he couldn't resist it, they didn't dare to imagine the consequences at all. The others were also moved. This elder Liang was indeed worthy of being the eldest young master's former master. His strength was indeed formidable. He could easily block such a terrifying sword diagram. Lin Xian also raised his brows. He had to admit that the other party's strength was indeed formidable. It was just that he was a little old. Otherwise, if he was a few hundred years younger, he might be able to become a saint-level figure. In the next moment, he executed the heavenly dragon's 8 steps. His entire person transformed into a stream of light, charging forward quickly. As he waved his long sword, various terrifying unique skills were unleashed rapidly. Brat, you're too arrogant. Seeing that Lin Xian dared to take the initiative to attack, Elder Liang roared furiously. A ferocious look appeared on his face. Boom! An incomparably terrifying power erupted from his body. He then struck out with his palm. Green light flickered in his hand, surrounded by endless wind blades. It easily cut through the void and grabbed towards Lin Xian. Green light, godly wind palm. Many people exclaimed. This was one of the Liang family's terrifying unique skills. The Liang family's cultivators were excited. This was because their elder had finally used a powerful killing move. Even the reverence moon saintess, the thousand thunder saint, and the others in the distance had a solemn look on their faces. This was because they had heard of this unique skill before. Feeling the terrifying power of the green palm, Lin Xian's expression also turned solemn. However, in the next moment, he snorted coldly. His left fist was like a dragon as he punched out. Dragon Shadow Rampage. The terrifying fist carried an aura that could destroy the world. Accompanying it were countless black dragon shadows that instantly covered the entire void. Boom! 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 The black dragon shadows that filled the sky rushed towards the green palm in an instant, shattering all the wind blades that filled the sky. In the next moment, the two of them attacked each other. They kept exchanging blows, and terrifying super skills were quickly displayed. Every single one of them was a unique skill that contained unlimited power. Everyone was dazzled and exclaimed in amazement. This was because they realized that the two of them were simply too powerful. Elder Liang was an elite 6-star king. Moreover, he was able to teach someone like the eldest young master. It could be said that his strength was absolutely terrifying. Therefore, Elder Liang's strength was within their expectations. However, Lin Xian's strength surprised them. This young man that they had once looked down on had now displayed unparalleled combat strength and his ever-changing martial skills. This really made them exclaim in amazement. Boom! Suddenly, an incomparable divine furnace appeared in the void. The scarlet divine furnace was incomparably bright red as if it was made with fresh blood. Not only that, but there was also a flaming phoenix on top of it. A monstrous flame aura rushed towards them as if it was going to burn the world. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Those who didn't know would think that it was an Earth-grade treasure. However, everyone could clearly see that this terrifying flaming phoenix divine furnace was formed by Lin Xian's sword qi. This kind of technique was heaven-defying. Chapter 1831. This terrifying flaming phoenix divine cauldron was formed by Lin Xian's sword qi. This technique was heaven-defying. Boom, boom, boom. The flaming phoenix divine cauldron shone brightly in the sky. Then, a phoenix rushed out from the flames. Carrying a sky full of fire, it quickly charged towards Elder Liang. All of this was formed by Lin Xian's sword qi, but it was so real. Although the surrounding people were separated by a defensive formation, they could still feel the monstrous heat that the flaming phoenix carried. An ordinary 6-star king could not resist this aura at all. The Liang family elder's expression was also solemn. He roared and waved his palms continuously. Suddenly, countless green gusts of wind swirled in front of him and then burst out. The sky was full of wild gales, and wind walls covered the sky to resist the flaming phoenix. The wind and fire clashed, creating a huge wave of energy. Countless black cracks appeared in the void in an instant. However, Lin Xian's sword qi was too powerful. The flaming phoenix formed at this moment, and the cauldron emitting a monstrous aura behind him directly tore the wild gales in the sky apart. Liang family, are you very arrogant? Today, I will suppress you. Lin Xian was like a demon as he controlled the huge cauldron and quickly suppressed it below. Seeing this scene, everyone's scalp went numb. As for the Liang family warriors, their faces were even darker. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could even suppress their elder. Humph! However, Elder Liang snorted coldly. Then, he took out a blue long saber from his storage ring and quickly slashed forward. 9 slashes wild saber. Elder Liang roared crazily and slashed out 9 sharp saber lights in a row. A terrifying aura wreaked havoc in the sky, carrying monstrous power. This was not an ordinary saber light, but a very strange saber light. Not only did it cause physical harm to the warrior, but it could also destroy the soul. It could be said that it was both powerful and strange, and impossible to guard against. That's great. Elder Liang has finally used his ultimate move. That kid is dead meat. Humph, of course. Once the 9 slashes wild blade is unleashed, I'm afraid that no one below the Almighty can resist it. No matter how powerful that kid is, he won't be able to avoid this kind of soul attack. Let him be arrogant again. When I catch him, I'll definitely cut him into 108,000 pieces. Let him know the consequences of offending our Liang clan. When those martial artists from the Liang family saw this scene, they all laughed maniacally. This was because they were extremely confident in the 9 slashes wild blade. In the sky, 9 dazzling saber lights flashed. Each of them was extremely sharp and carried a terrifying killing intent. The saber radiance swept across heaven and earth, completely sealing Lin Xian. Seeing this scene, the surrounding cultivators shook their heads and sighed. In their view, no matter how valiant Lin Xian was, there was no way he could withstand the 9 slashes wild blade. Sigh, he's definitely going to lose. Although that kid is strong, he is still too young after all. His experience and combat strength are not as good as Elder Liang's. Elder Liang is incomparably terrifying. Back then, he almost became the eldest son of the Liang clan. Although they didn't succeed in the end, the foundation that they have accumulated over the years is not something that any young person can contend against. Everyone sighed. In the crowd, Lu Mingyue's eyes flickered, but she was still very calm. This was because she knew that this kind of attack was not enough to pose a fatal threat to Lin Xian. Sure enough, in the next moment, Lin Xian looked at the 9 saber lights flashing around him and sneered. Then, countless sword chi condensed behind him, forming the 6 sword deity phantoms. Kill! Lin Xian roared and began to counterattack with the 6 sword deity phantoms. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul in his body circulated wildly, and a terrifying energy swept in all directions. Each of the 6 sword deity phantoms was extremely terrifying. In addition to Lin Xian's original body, a terrifying power filled the entire sky. In an instant, the entire void began to tremble. If it were not for the defensive formation in this area, it would have been destroyed in an instant. Following Lin Xian's counterattack, the terrifying saber radiance in the sky dimmed, and some even began to shatter. How is this possible? The 9 slashes wild blade was broken. Am I dreaming? How can this brat's sword chi be so powerful? Even the slash wild blade could not resist it. What kind of sword skill is this? Why have I never heard of it before? Could this kid be from the Myriad Swords Manor? Frenzied exclamations could be heard. Obviously, everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's sword chi. Even the Reverence Moon Saintess, the Myriad Thunder Saint, and the 4 Symbols Saint looked extremely solemn. This kind of sword chi was beyond their expectations. Looking at the terrifying attack, Elder Liang's face was extremely ugly. He originally thought that he could easily kill Lin Xian with the 9 slashes wild blade. But now, his ultimate move was broken again. This made his heart feel unusually heavy. In the distance, Lu Mingyue's eyes flickered when she saw this scene. To be honest, she knew that Lin Xian was powerful, but she did not expect him to be so powerful. Lin Xian's combat strength had increased too quickly in such a short period of time. He was much more terrifying than when she first met him. Thinking of this, a touch of bitterness appeared at the corner of Lu Mingyue's mouth. With his terrifying growth speed, even if she became the saintess of all beginnings in the future, it would be difficult for her to surpass him. In front of them, the two exchanged dozens of blows and then quickly distanced themselves from each other. Among them, Lin Xian looked calm and his aura was even. On the other side, Elder Liang's face was extremely ugly. The reason for that was because the battle this time had truly exceeded his expectations. Now he understood why Lin Xian dared to provoke the Liang family. Lin Xian's current combat strength was definitely at the elite level among the 6 Star Kings. With such combat strength in such a young age, Lin Xian was definitely a young genius. Kid, I have to admit that you're very strong, beyond my expectations. Elder Liang's face was cold, and his body was surging with killing intent. But do you think you can defeat me like this? You're too naive. I'll let you know my true strength. It turns out that Elder Liang did not use his full strength. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists exclaimed. The Reverence Moon Saintess, the Myriad Thunder Saint, and the 4 Symbols Saint nodded slightly. They could also see that Elder Liang should have some unique skills that he had not used. Lin Xian, on the other hand, looked calm. How could he not know that Elder Liang had hidden his skills? Moreover, he had not used his full strength. Therefore, in the next moment, he said indifferently, "Show me what you have. I'll take it." Humph! Elder Liang snorted coldly, thinking that Lin Xian was putting on a brave front. In the next moment, he opened his mouth, and his aura suddenly soared. Then, he spat out a mass of cyan air. The air was very small, and it was faint cyan, blooming with cyan light. However, it exuded an extremely terrifying aura. This aura made everyone's expression change drastically. "This is the North Pole wind," someone exclaimed, and his face was full of horror. At this moment, whether it was the Liang family's martial artists, other experts, or even the Reverence Moon Saintess and the Myriad Thunder Saint, they all looked extremely solemn. Obviously, they had also heard of the North Pole wind. Chapter 1832. Whether it was the Liang family's martial artists or the other experts, even the Reverence Moon Saintess and the Thousand Thunder Saint, they all wore solemn expressions. Obviously, they had heard of the Arctic wind. The true spirit world was divided into 5 continents. The northern region was in the north of the eastern wilderness, and further north was the northern plains continent. The climate there was completely different, and there was often a world of ice and snow. In the extreme north of the northern plains continent, there was an iceberg. It was said that the wind from there was called the Arctic wind. That place was terrifying, and it was almost a forbidden area for humans. There were no demonic beasts there. However, there was a very strange fish that lived there. The Arctic wind was contained in the Arctic fish. It was said that the Arctic wind was so terrifying that it could easily freeze a king to death. One could imagine the terrifying energy it contained. He just didn't expect that Elder Liang would have such a terrifying thing as the Arctic wind. In the sky, the Arctic wind was only the size of a fist, and it kept spinning in the air. However, the aura it emitted made all the martial artists shudder. Lin Xian was also astonished. He was naturally able to sense the power brought about by the cold wind. He did not expect Elder Liang to have such a treasure. It was even more threatening than an upper-grade Earth-rank artifact. Boom! At this moment, Elder Liang let out a long laugh. Suddenly, the Arctic wind in front of him grew bigger and spun rapidly, forming a terrifying gale that enveloped the surroundings. Kid, I didn't want to use this method, but you're the one who asked for it. You should be proud that you forced me to use the Arctic wind. Elder Liang's voice was cold. Even his body was covered in frost. Lin Xian raised his eyebrows when he saw this. Originally, he felt that the Arctic wind was a little tricky. However, it seemed that it was not that difficult to deal with now. Based on the current situation, Elder Liang could not fully control the Arctic wind. This gave him a chance. The next moment, he said coldly, although the Arctic wind is powerful, it seems that you haven't fully mastered it. You're in a hurry to use it now. Aren't you afraid of the backlash? Kid, don't be delusional. Although I haven't fully grasped it, it's enough to kill you. In the next moment, Elder Liang controlled the Arctic wind and quickly charged towards Lin Xian. Hoo. A cold wind blew in the sky, and a terrifying white storm swept through the surroundings. Everywhere it passed, it turned into ice and frost. The expressions of the spectating kings all changed. This was because the cold air was too terrifying. If they were hit by this wind, no matter how strong they would probably be frozen into ice dregs. It's over. That kid is dead for sure. This Arctic wind is extremely terrifying. Even a powerful being might not be able to withstand it. Humph, he dares to go against our Liang clan again. He's done for this time around. What a pity for such a young genius. Looking at this scene, everyone shook their heads and sighed. Some even sneered. However, without exception, they all believed that Lin Xian was dead for sure this time. Even the Reverence Moon Saintess, the 10,000 Thunder Saint's son, and the others shook their heads slightly. Then they turned around and prepared to leave. Boom! The white storm surged, and the Arctic wind quickly enveloped Lin Xian. In the next moment, he would be frozen into an ice sculpture. On the other hand, Lin Xian looked calm. He felt the terrifying cold wind, and even the spiritual energy in his body was about to be frozen. But soon, he snorted and activated the sea god's ice in his body. Instantly, an equally terrifying and monstrous ice power erupted. Boom! Ka. In the next moment, the blue light on Lin Xian's body exploded, and blue crystals that looked like water droplets appeared in front of him. He released a terrifying power to resist the white storm. Icy power. This kid also has the icy power. At this moment, many people exclaimed. It was obvious that everyone was surprised that Lin Xian could use the power of frost. The warriors from the Liang clan sneered. It was just an ordinary icy power. How could it compete with the Arctic wind? Just wait and see. He would be frozen into an ice cube in the next moment. Seeing this, Elder Liang sneered and shook his head. He activated the Arctic wind even more crazily. Ka. But soon, his face turned pale because he found that his opponent seemed to be able to resist his Arctic wind. What? How is this possible? It can't be. That kid really withstood the Arctic wind. Heavens, am I dreaming? What kind of means did he use? Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. They had never thought that Lin Xian could resist the Arctic wind. At this moment, even the Reverence Moon Saintess, the Thousand Thunder Saint, and the Four Symbols Saint stopped. They were ready to leave because they thought there was no suspense in this battle. But now, they were equally surprised because things were out of their expectations. Instead of being frozen, Lin Xian had resisted the Arctic wind. How was this possible? The Arctic wind was extremely terrifying. Even the Almighties had to retreat. How did that kid resist it? The Reverence Moon Saintess frowned. The other party seems to also possess a type of ice power. Could it be that he can contend against the Arctic wind? The Thousand Thunder Saint's eyes flickered. The Four Symbols Saint guessed, is it because Elder Liang has just obtained the Arctic wind and his cultivation is not pure enough? Is that why he can't unleash the full power of the Arctic wind? The fact that Lin Xian was able to withstand the Arctic wind stunned everyone present. Even the three Chosens were guessing what method the other party had used. Impossible. D***M in it. This is absolutely impossible. How can you resist the Arctic wind? The one who was most shocked was Elder Liang. He knew the power of the Arctic wind very well. Although he had not fully refined it, no one below the Almighties could resist it when he used it. But now, Lin Xian was actually able to resist it. This surprised him. The Arctic wind is indeed terrifying. But you don't have enough, and you haven't fully refined it. Don't you think it's too naive to use such a half-finished product to resist it? Lin Xian sneered. Next, he activated the Sea God's Ice. The terrifying icy power spread rapidly. Ka. The Arctic wind that filled the sky trembled rapidly and was even about to be suppressed. Heavens, how is this possible? The Arctic wind is at a disadvantage. Although Elder Liang had not fully refined the Arctic wind, it was not something that other ice could resist. Everyone was shocked. Even Lu Mingyue was surprised. She did not expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure. One should know that Lin Xian had the Sea God's Ice. Chapter 1833. She did not expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure. One had to know that Lin Xian had the Sea God's Ice. It was also a legendary ice treasure. It was even rumored that someone had frozen the entire sea with a peerless divine ability. One could only imagine how terrifying the power of ice was. At this moment, it was perfect to deal with the Arctic wind. Boom, boom, boom. The two powers of ice collided in the air, and the Arctic wind was gradually suppressed. Not only that, but Elder Liang was also in a very bad state. He had not completely refined the Arctic wind and had forcibly used it, causing the frost energy in his body to increase. Coupled with the threat of the Sea God's Ice, Elder Liang finally could not take it anymore. He vomited blood and kept retreating. Seeing this, the warriors of the Liang family went crazy. That was their hope, but they could not do anything to their opponent. Who is he? How can he be so powerful? They were in despair. You've lost. Take your people and get lost. Lin Xian withdrew his hand and said indifferently, Impossible. Damn it. How could I lose? I don't believe it. Elder Liang went crazy. He could not accept this reality. In the next moment, he swallowed a few pills and the power in his body exploded instantly. Kid, no one can defeat me, and no one dares to provoke the Liang family. Go to hell. At this moment, Elder Liang went crazy. His entire body carried the North Pole wind as he rushed over quickly. Whoosh! The wind whistled and completely froze the space. Not only that, but two icy whirlwind hands quickly formed and slammed toward Lin Xian. Stubborn. Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Lin Xian snorted coldly with a cold expression. To be honest, he did not want to kill Elder Liang because he did not have a deep grudge with the Liang family. But now, Elder Liang wanted to kill him with his life, so he had to fight back. With a wave of his hand, the power of ice quickly surged and turned into a blue ice sword that Lin Xian held in his hand. Buzz! With a swing of the sword, the terrifying power of ice exploded. Not only that, but it also contained a monstrous murderous aura. Boom! With a slash of the sword, The Arctic wind that filled the sky was instantly torn apart. The two large white hands were also split in half from the middle. Elder Liang's body trembled as he fell from the sky. This sword was simply too sharp, directly splitting Elder Liang into two halves. However, his body did not split apart. The reason for that was because the power of the sea god's ice had instantly frozen Elder Liang's body, turning him into an ice sculpture. With a plop, the ice cube fell to the ground. It was smashed into pieces. The battlefield was completely silent, because everyone was stunned. She couldn't believe her eyes. He was an elder of the Liang family. They were the elites among 6 Star Kings. But now, he had been killed instead. This was simply inconceivable. No. Elder. The warriors of the Liang family reacted. Each of them had a ferocious look on their faces as they shouted crazily. They were truly unable to accept the reality before their eyes. On the other side, Lu Mingyue's eyes flickered. He was shocked. Originally, she thought that she already knew enough about Lin Xian, but now it seemed that her knowledge was too shallow. Lin Xian had too many tricks up his sleeves. She couldn't see through him at all. On the other side, the Reverence Moon Saintess, Thousand Thunder Saint, Four Symbols Saint, and other sky prides were also frowning. Lin Xian's combat strength was beyond their expectations. Moreover, he was very young, even younger than them. Such a person was enough to threaten them. Therefore, in the next moment, all eyes were on Lin Xian. These eyes contained different emotions. Some were shocked, some were praising, and some even had a hint of hidden killing intent. Lin Xian didn't care about this at all. He stood with his hands behind his back. He was extremely calm, just like a sword immortal. Kid, how dare you kill an elder of the Liang family? You're dead meat. Kill him and avenge Elder Liang. The warriors of the Liang family roared crazily. Some of them couldn't even control their emotions as they charged towards Lin Xian. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. Battles were unpredictable. If the other party dared to attack him, he wouldn't mind killing them all. The battle was about to break out again. However, before Lin Xian could attack, a terrifying energy fluctuation came from the void. Instantly, it enveloped the few warriors of the Liang family. A huge wave of energy swept over from the sky like a wave, intimidating the entire space. The terrifying aura made everyone tremble in fear. This aura was much stronger than that of Elder Liang and the others. It was obvious that this person had entered the ranks of the Almighties. Don't you know the rules of the Purple Cloud Palace? A majestic voice came from the sky. It was the people of the Purple Cloud Palace. Hearing this voice, everyone was shocked. They knew that the Gu family had interfered. The few disciples of the Liang family who had gone crazy were also shocked. After a while, their expressions returned to normal. They could feel the fierce aura around them, and a strong sense of fear appeared in their eyes. Do you want to break the rules of the Purple Cloud Palace? At this moment, the majestic voice came again. No, we don't dare. The warriors of the Liang family hurriedly shook their heads. Firstly, this was the territory of the Gu family. The Liang family did not even have any Almighties present. Therefore, if a fight really broke out, they would not be able to resist at all. Moreover, the Liang family would not easily start a war with the remote antiquity families over an elder. Therefore, at this moment, they could only endure. Kid, just you wait. When we get out of the Purple Cloud Palace, you'll be in for it. When the time comes, I'll show you the true power of the Liang family. There will be no place for you in the North region. The warriors of the Liang family roared crazily. Then, they glared at Lin Xian coldly. Let's go. In the next moment, they snorted coldly and turned to leave quickly. In the main hall, the surrounding warriors were still in shock. A series of discussions and frenzied yells could be heard. Obviously, the impact of this battle on them was too great. It was expected that Lin Xian's combat strength was too strong. He was not much weaker than the sun. Moreover, he was so young. Perhaps in a few years, he would be another sun. Who is this kid? Which sect is he from? How can he be so strong? I've never heard of him. Could he be a genius disciple secretly cultivated by some sacred ground? Discussions broke out one after another. After a long time, the excitement gradually subsided. However, many people still looked at Lin Xian from time to time. Even the reverence moon saintess, the thousand thunder saint, and the four symbols saint did not leave. They chose a place nearby and drank while hitting Lin Xian from time to time. They seemed to be very interested in Lin Xian. Chapter 1834. Even the reverence moon saintess, the thousand thunder saint sun, and the four symbols saint sun did not leave. They chose a place nearby and drank while hitting Lin Xian from time to time. They seemed to be very interested in Lin Xian. Lin Xian met up with Lu Mingyue. The two of them also came to a place and tasted the wine silently. During this time, many kings came up to Lin Xian to talk to him. They seemed to want to befriend him. Lin Xian did not reject these people. However, he only talked to them on the surface. He would not tell them about his background and his purpose of coming to the North region. In the sky, the majestic energy disappeared quickly. Then, a figure appeared. It was a middle-aged man. He was burly and had a dignified appearance. His eyes were like cold stars. His two curved eyebrows were like sword radiance. As he stood there, he exuded an awe-inspiring aura. His appearance naturally caused a commotion in the battle area. They knew that this middle-aged man was the Almighty who had stopped the Liang family from attacking. He was obviously from the Purple Cloud Palace. Behind the Purple Cloud Palace was the Gu family. In other words, he could be a martial artist from a clan of the ancients. In an instant, the surrounding martial artists all stood up and bowed to the middle-aged man. Even the reverence moon saintess, the thousand thunder saint sun, and the four symbols saint sun stood up and bowed slightly. The other party was an almighty. Moreover, this was the Gu family's territory. They had to keep a low profile. The middle-aged man, Gu Xiu, looked around and nodded slightly. Then, he strode forward. In that direction was where Lin Xian was. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. They did not expect the Gu family's almighty to be heading toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also surprised. Then, he put down his wine cup and stood up to bow slightly. "Greetings, senior." Beside him, Lu Mingyue bowed as well. The Gu family's almighty nodded slightly. Then, he smiled. "Not bad. A young hero with such combat strength at such a young age. I'm afraid you're not far from the saint level." "Thank you for your praise, senior," Lin Xian said, but he was very confused. This was because he didn't understand why the other party had come looking for him. Presumably, it wasn't just to praise him. Gu Xiu asked faintly, "May I know which sect young hero comes from? Which clan do you belong to?" "Junior is a rogue cultivator without a sect. As for my clan, it's too small. I'm afraid you've never heard of it, senior." "Rogue cultivator?" After hearing this, the ancient cultivator was greatly astonished. The reason for that was because he did not expect that the other party was actually a loose cultivator. One had to know that rogue cultivators referred to those who did not belong to any sect or faction and wandered the Jianghu alone. This kind of person seemed to be carefree, but they didn't have the backing of a sect or a family to rely on or provide resources. It could be said that they were the least valued group of people in Jianghu. Of course, there were also experts like this, but the number was very small, far less than the sects and those huge aristocratic families. However, the ancient cultivator did not expect that the young man before him was actually a loose cultivator. This was truly beyond his expectations. However, this was even better. Originally, he had wanted to rope the other party in because if such a young genius could join the Gu family, he would definitely be a powerful force in the future. Previously, the ancient cultivator was still a little worried because if the other party was a disciple of a sacred ground or sect, then there might not be much hope to rope him in. But now, the other party was just a loose cultivator. This way, he was very confident that he could get the other party to join the Gu family. However, this matter was not urgent and had to be done slowly. Therefore, the ancient cultivator said faintly, "I see. I didn't expect that a loose cultivator like you would have such combat strength. It was really shocking. By the way, there will be a small auction on the 5th floor of the Purple Cloud Palace in a while. I wonder if you're interested in participating?" "Auction?" Hearing this, Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. "I wonder what will be in this auction." Hearing this, the ancient cultivator revealed a look of disbelief. Although the auction is small, the items inside are not bad at all. Most of them are extremely precious cultivation techniques and even some treasures. For example, the cold spring holy water and the connate purple thunderstone will appear in this auction. Connate purple thunderstone. Hearing this, Lin Xian's heart thumped wildly. He came to the northern region this time to look for this thing. He did not expect it to finally appear now. On the side, Lu Mingyue was also pleasantly surprised. Then, the two of them looked at each other. Lin Xian said with a smile, then, "Thank you, senior." Since there was a connate purple thunderstone, Lin Xian would definitely participate in this auction. Moreover, he had to get this stone. That's good. Take the purple invitation and you can directly enter the auction on the 5th floor in a while. The ancient cultivator put down an invitation and then turned to leave. Thank you, senior. Lin Xian held the invitation card in his hand as a smile appeared on his face. Great. With the connate purple thunderstone, the formation to deal with powerful figures can be completed. Then, I can hunt down the saintess of all beginnings. Thinking of this, not only Lin Xian, but also Lu Mingyue was excited. She said in a deep voice, this time, no matter how much it costs, we must get the connate purple thunderstone. There was still half a day before the auction, so Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue once again enjoyed some singing and dancing in the hall and tasted some spiritual wine. After half a day, the two of them got up and went to the 5th floor. At this moment, the Reverence Moon Saintess, the Thousand Thunder Saint, the Four Symbols Saint, and some other experts also went to the 5th floor. Everyone who could go to the 5th floor was an expert. They were either young geniuses or old experts. None of them were weak. After Lin Xian and the others left, the hall suddenly became much quieter. However, there were still many people who were not qualified to participate in the auction at all. They could only talk here. The topic that was talked about the most was Lin Xian. That was because the battle prowess that Lin Xian had displayed was simply too powerful. Furthermore, his identity was so mysterious. It was only natural that they were curious about him. Do you think that guy is a saint in disguise? How can an ordinary rogue cultivator have such powerful combat strength? Moreover, he's too young. I'm afraid that the geniuses of the North region have a rival. Not necessarily. Although this guy is powerful, the combat strength he has shown so far is not at the level of a saint. Most importantly, he has offended the Liang family. Presumably, he will be hunted down by the Liang family. Whether he can survive by then is another matter. Everyone was talking about it, and they were not optimistic about Lin Xian. After all, the Liang family was the top force in the North region. Although Lin Xian was powerful, he was only one person. Without the support of a huge force behind him, he could not compete with a giant like the Liang family. On the other side, Lin Xian, Lu Mingyue, and Zhe Shi went to the 5th floor. Chapter 1835. On the other side, Lin Xian, Lu Mingyue, and Zhe Shi had reached the 5th floor. The 5th floor wasn't as big as the 1st floor's hall, but it was luxurious and rich in spirit qi. It far surpassed the 1st floor's hall. Lin Xian could clearly feel that there were countless spiritual gathering arrays on the 5th floor, which gathered extremely pure spiritual qi. The tables, chairs, and walls were all carved from the best 1,000-year-old spiritual wood. It was extremely luxurious. The 5th floor was divided into the ordinary area and the VIP pavilion. There were only dozens of VIP pavilions, and each of them was extremely exquisite. Not only that, those who could enter the VIP pavilions were extremely powerful figures. Everyone was proud to be able to enter the VIP pavilions, because it was a symbol of status. Perhaps only the experts of the great sects, peerless holy lands, and the remote antiquity families could enter. The others, including the sect leaders of the smaller sects, might not even be qualified to enter the VIP pavilions. One could imagine how noble it was to be able to enter the VIP pavilions. The ancient cultivators gave Lin Xian face and gave him a purple invitation card. Therefore, Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue were also allocated a VIP room. The two of them held the purple invitation and walked toward the VIP pavilion in front of them. But at this time, they frowned, because they found that there were also a few figures in front of them. Those figures were quite extraordinary. They carried powerful radiance and terrifying auras. They were Wanlei Xingzi and the others. As the saints of the Holy Lands, they were naturally distinguished and qualified to enter the VIP pavilions. Wanlei Xingzi and the others naturally saw Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue, and they were stunned. At this time, the Reverence Moon Saintess said with a smile, "What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here." Young Master's previous battle was really surprising. "May I know where Young Master is from? How should I address you?" For a moment, many people's eyes fell on Lin Xian again. Lin Xian laughed. "It's just a small trick. How could it enter the eyes of the Reverence Moon Saintess? I'm just a small rogue cultivator. You won't know my name even if I tell you," Lin Xian said with a smile as he prepared to leave. At this time, Lu Mingyue also sent a sound transmission to Lin Xian, telling him to leave quickly. She had discovered that there was actually a genius from the All Beginnings Holy Land on the other side. Sure enough, just as Lin Xian was about to leave, a figure blocked his path. It was a young man with long, dark red hair that flowed behind him like flames. His eyes were deep and sharp. The corners of his eyes were slightly raised, as if he was high and mighty. He blocked Lin Xian's path, his lips curling into a sinister smile. "What's wrong, brother? Are you not going to give me face? Who are you? Why should I give you face?" Lin Xian frowned. He had no interest in dealing with these people. Upon hearing this, the young man's face darkened. "Kid, don't be too arrogant. Don't think that you're so great just because you defeated Elder Liang. Let me tell you, people like that can't be compared to us. So, when you face us, you'd better correct your attitude." "Who are you?" Lin Xian coldly asked. The other party's tone had left him in a bad mood. At this time, the 10,000 Thunder Saint walked over with a chuckle. "Let me introduce you. This is Brother Chao Yun. He is a genius disciple of the All Beginnings Holy Land. He is also one of the candidate Holy Sons." "The All Beginnings Holy Sons people are actually here." Lin Xian was shocked. As for Lu Mingyue, she was extremely nervous. Fortunately, the mask on her face was a magic treasure. Even supreme experts wouldn't be able to see through it. So, as long as she didn't reveal any flaws, the other party wouldn't be able to recognize her. Chao Yun looked at Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue, his eyes flickering. He raised his chin and coldly said, "This woman is your companion? Make her take off her mask." His voice carried an unquestionable command. Upon hearing this, Lu Mingyue was startled. Had the other party discovered something? Lin Xian also frowned. The other party's attitude was too arrogant. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. On the side, the Reverence Moon Saintess smiled and said, "Brother Chao is really careful. He doesn't miss any opportunity to interrogate." Chao Yun said, "Of course, that bitch Lu Mingyue hasn't been caught yet. Moreover, one of our All Beginnings holy grounds was destroyed. It was probably done by them. This time, we must capture that bitch and bring her back to the sect to receive punishment." Hearing this, Lin Xian understood. Obviously, the news of them destroying the All Beginnings holy grounds should have been sent back. The All Beginnings Saintess was probably looking for them all over the world. Previously, Lu Mingyue had displayed a powerful combat strength. Coupled with her incomparably mysterious appearance and the fact that she was wearing a mask, it naturally aroused Chao Yun's suspicion. Of course, it was only suspicion. Lu Mingyue hadn't used the primal chaos technique from beginning to end. "Don't you think you're going overboard?" Lin Xian's face sank. "What's there to be overboard about? I'm just doing a routine check. I hope you can cooperate with the All Beginnings Holy Ground. Moreover, you're just a small wandering cultivator. I advise you not to become enemies with the All Beginnings Holy Ground, because you can't afford to offend them." The Reverence Moon Saintess, the 10,000 Lightning Holy Sun, and the 4 Symbols Holy Sun looked like they were watching a show. Clearly, Lin Xian had been too domineering before. Now, they wanted to borrow Chao Yun's hand to suppress his arrogance. Otherwise, the surrounding people would really think that a small wandering cultivator could contend against holy sons like them. "Humph." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "You're just a holy sun candidate. What's there to be arrogant about? I advise you to disappear from my sight. Otherwise, You'll have to bear the consequences. Also, you can threaten me again after you become a holy son. What? Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Lin Xian in shock. They had already noticed what had happened before. However, that was only the circle of holy sons. Therefore, they didn't dare to approach and could only listen from afar. But now, after hearing Lin Xian's words, they could no longer remain calm. He was simply too strong. He wasn't afraid of the all-beginnings holy son candidate at all. He was even threatening him. This wasn't something that an ordinary person could do. Sure enough, Chao Yun's face darkened. His gaze was ice-cold as he glared at Lin Xian. Brat, do you know who you're talking to? You're just a holy son candidate. What's there to be arrogant about? Hurry up and scram. Lin Xian was furious. He didn't have time to waste with Chao Yun. Brat, you're really arrogant. Just you wait. Don't think that no one can deal with you just because you killed old Liang Zhang. I'll see you in the battle zone after the auction. I'll let you know what a true genius is. Chao Yun's voice was ice-cold and filled with killing intent. Chapter 1836. The 10,000 Lightning Saint's son narrowed his eyes. A person should know when to advance and when to retreat. A saint's son is not someone you can compare to. He looked down at Lin Xian with an arrogant look. The four-symbol saint's son also had a sinister smile on his face. The moon reverend saintess giggled and said, "Great, now there's a good show to watch." Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly, and a terrifying aura surged from his body. He brought Lu Mingyue with him and directly passed by the few saints, striding forward. As for their threats and provocations, he directly ignored them. He had nothing to say to them. At worst, they would fight. There was nothing to be afraid of. Seeing that Chao Yun dared to ignore them, the 10,000 Lightning Saint's son, four symbols Saint's son, and the moon reverence saintess faces darkened. In their eyes, Chao Yun was too arrogant. No one dared to ignore them. Chao Yun sneered and said, "After the auction, I'll deal with him personally." "That's for the best." The 10,000 Lightning Saint's son snorted coldly. Then, they walked toward the VIP pavilion. On the other side, Lin Xian ignored the 10,000 Lightning Saint's son and the others and went to a VIP pavilion. Then, he exclaimed. This place was better than he had imagined. Although the fifth floor was small, it was still relatively small. Just this VIP pavilion alone was comparable to a small palace. Inside, there was a huge bright moon divine pearl hanging in the air. It shone brightly like the moon. It emitted endless radiance. The floor was covered with white spiritual jade, which provided abundant spiritual qi. There was also a golden pearl, which provided heat. There were lotuses painted on the floor, forming the appearance of a five-colored divine lotus. It indicated that a martial artist would create lotuses with every step. There were purple crystal lamps around, emitting a faint light. When the purple light shone on people, it made them feel calm and tranquil. It was as if all their troubles had disappeared. This was a purple spiritual stone. It had the effect of calming the nerves. It was useful for kings and almighties. It was very precious. Unexpectedly, it was used as a palace lamp here. One had to admit that this place was too luxurious. Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue sat comfortably on the rattan chairs, enjoying the spirit wine and spirit fruits while waiting for the auction to begin. There was a huge purple crystal in front of them, forming a light screen that allowed them to clearly see the scene outside. Moreover, when they saw a treasure that they liked, they could name a price at any time. Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue entered the VIP pavilion. The Reverence Moon Saintess, Thousand Lightning Holy Sun, Four Symbols Holy Sun, Chao Yun, and other experts also entered the VIP pavilion. As for those who did not have the qualifications to enter the VIP pavilion, they sat down in the middle of the large hall and quietly waited. As everyone arrived, a figure quickly appeared on the crystal auction stage in front of them. That person was the middle-aged mighty figure who had given Lin Xian an invitation, the ancient cultivator. Immediately, everyone became excited. Because for an almighty being to be the auctioneer, one could imagine how high the standard of this auction was. After the ancient cultivators from the Gu clan came out, the entire hall became quiet without a single sound. The ancient cultivator looked around and was very satisfied. In the next moment, he said loudly, "Welcome everyone to the Purple Cloud Palace's auction. I don't think I need to say more about the Purple Cloud Palace. Therefore, the items in this auction will definitely satisfy everyone." Hearing this, everyone became excited. They could not wait any longer. The experts were also excited because they more or less knew some of the items that would be auctioned in this auction. Now that they heard the ancient cultivator's words, they were naturally excited. Even Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue's eyes were flickering. That was because there were also things that they wanted in this auction. All right then, let's have a look at the next treasure. After the first treasure was taken out, the entire auction went into a frenzy. Indeed, as the ancient cultivator had said, every one of them was an extremely precious treasure that was enough to make the experts jealous. Soon, the experts began to bid against each other and started to fight. Even the Holy Sons joined in. Even Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue were moved when they saw the treasures. That was because every single treasure that was taken out was incomparably precious. However, the price was also a headache for them. Therefore, the two of them did not bid. They had been waiting for the innate purple thunder stone. During this time, several treasures appeared, and even a high-grade earth-rank artifact appeared. When the high-grade earth-rank artifact appeared, the entire hall went crazy. Everyone's eyes were burning with excitement. In the eastern wilderness, an earth-rank artifact was not particularly rare. Every expert had one. However, it was only a low-grade earth-rank artifact. A slightly better one might be a mid-grade earth-rank artifact. However, they did not have a high-grade earth-rank artifact. In fact, they rarely saw one. Therefore, they were naturally excited when they saw it. At this moment, all the experts, elders, and even the Reverence Moon Saintess, the Thousand Thunder Holy Sun, the Four Symbols Holy Sun, and the others joined in the bidding. In the end, it was bought by the Four Symbols Holy Sun at a high price. After the Four Symbols Holy Sun obtained the high-grade earth-rank artifact, his lips curled into a proud smile. As for the other experts, they sighed. There was nothing they could do. A high-grade earth-rank white dress was several times more powerful than a mid-grade earth-rank artifact. If they obtained it, their combat strength would definitely increase tremendously. However, it was a pity that the Four Symbols Holy Sun had obtained it. There was nothing they could do. One had to know that the Four Symbols Holy Ground was a terrifying force in the northern region. As the Four Symbols Holy Sun, the wealth in his hands was beyond imagination. Not only that, the others did not even dare to think of robbing him after the auction. After all, if they provoked the Four Symbols Holy Sun, they would be hunted down by the Four Symbols Holy Ground. At this point, the auction reached its peak. Although the following items were not as precious as a high-grade earth-rank artifact, they were still precious treasures. This attracted the other experts to make their move. At this time, on the crystal auction stage, the ancient cultivator chuckled and said, "Everyone, the next item is also extraordinary. What kind of extraordinary treasure is there?" Hearing this, everyone became excited. Could it be another high-grade earth-rank artifact? Impossible. High-grade earth-rank artifacts are like cabbages. It's impossible for so many to appear. It must be other treasures. Yes, I guess it should be a top-grade earth-rank cultivation technique. It's possible. Discussions broke out one after another. However, the ancient cultivator smiled mysteriously. In the next moment, he clapped his hands lightly. Then, four beautiful women in light muslin appeared on the crystal auction stage. Each of the four beautiful women stretched out their slender hands and held a dark red square box in their hands. This posture was extremely mysterious, and it aroused the curiosity of the crowd. What is it? Chapter 1837. This posture could be said to be extremely mysterious, which aroused the curiosity of everyone. What exactly is it? Everyone guessed, and some experts who were familiar with Gu Xiu had already begun to speak. "Old Gu, what exactly is it? Don't keep us in suspense." "That's right. Hurry up and tell us. I can't wait any longer." Hee. Gu Xiu looked at the fiery scene around him, then nodded slightly and said to the four beautiful women, Open it. After the red box was opened, a purple light flickered and floated in the hall. Not only that, but there were also small bolts of lightning that kept swimming around like swimming dragons. That is, looking at this strange scene, everyone was stunned. Even the peerless experts and saints were surprised. They did not expect to cause such a phenomenon. This is the connate purple thunderstone. At this moment, an old man spoke in a deep voice. What? Connate purple thunderstone. It's actually the connate purple thunderstone. Hearing the old man's words, many people exclaimed. Obviously, they had heard of the connate purple thunderstone. This is a treasure. Legend has it that this stone contains connate chi. It's extremely mysterious and can help warriors break through bottlenecks. It can help improve one's cultivation. It's definitely the best supplement for cultivation. Yes, I'm afraid even the mighty figures will be jealous when they see it. Not only that, not only does it contain connate chi, which is helpful to warriors, but it's also an excellent material for refining weapons. With it, the success rate of refining earth-rank treasures can be greatly increased. Moreover, the treasures refined from it will also be several times more powerful. What? It has such an effect? Those kings who did not know about the connate purple thunderstone were also shocked, because these two characteristics were too shocking, and they could not help but be tempted. It's really out. Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue looked at the translucent purple stone with excitement in their hearts. In another VIP room, the Thousand Thunder Saint's eyes were also shining. He released thunder and lightning all over his body, forming rings of thunder and lightning that surrounded his body. Because he was too excited. This connate purple thunderstone not only contained the connate chi, but also the purple divine thunder. It was very useful to him. With the purple divine thunder, he might be able to successfully break through to the almighty realm. That way, he would be the most powerful existence among all the saints. So no matter what, he had to obtain the natural violet lightning rock. In the other VIP pavilions, the Reverence Moon Saintess, the four symbols holy children, and the other experts, as well as the elders, were also burning with excitement, because this stone was also useful to them. Therefore, many experts had their eyes on Lin Xian. The Thousand Lightning Saint Sun, the Reverence Moon Saintess, and the four symbols Saint Sun frowned. This scene was indeed beyond their expectations. Chao Yun's face was filled with shock and disbelief. He crazily said, "Impossible. How could this brat have a mid-grade Earthstep treasure? I suspect that this is fake." Humph. However, at this moment, the ancient cultivator on the crystal auction stage let out a cold snort and coldly said, "Young Master Chao Yun, I hope you won't disturb the order of the auction." This voice was extremely cold, and it seemed to contain the might of an almighty being. They surged towards Chao Yun. Boom! Chao Yun's body trembled, and a trace of fear appeared in his eyes. He didn't dare to say anything because he knew that if he did, the Gu clan would be angry. His expression was extremely ugly. Previously, he had doubted the other party and thought that the other party wouldn't take out a mid-grade Earthstep treasure. However, he didn't expect the other party to take it out in the blink of an eye. This was definitely a resounding slap to his face. However, he couldn't retaliate. This made his face burn. It was extremely embarrassing. However, soon, he revealed a trace of a cold smile. This time, the other party had taken out a mid-grade Earthstep treasure and embarrassed him. However, this had inadvertently attracted the attention of other powerhouses. Those people would definitely have their eyes on Lin Xian. Humph. Brat, you're just a small rogue cultivator. I think there will definitely be people who will have their eyes on you. When the time comes, I'll see how you die. Chao Yun didn't say anything. Instead, a cold smile hung at the corner of his mouth. Sure enough, on the other side, Lu Mingyue, who was in the VIP room, was also somewhat worried. Won't we attract the attention of other powerhouses by being so high profile? It won't be good if someone makes a move. Don't worry. With my speed, even a mighty figure might not be able to catch up, unless a peerless mighty figure makes a move. However, Do you think a peerless mighty figure will make a move for a mid-grade Earth-step treasure? That's obviously impossible. In fact, Lin Xian had already thought about all of this. His heavenly dragon's 8 steps had improved a lot. Now, his speed could compete with a mighty figure. Therefore, even if he was chased by a mighty figure, he could still leave calmly. Soon, Lin Xian put away the Linglong treasure pagoda. The hall fell into silence, because now Lin Xian's price was the highest. At this time, on the crystal auction stage, Guxiu clapped and laughed. Someone has already bid a mid-grade Earth-step treasure. Then, is there anyone else who wants to increase the price? The ordinary kings were silent. They could only look up at this price. However, a few saints and experts snorted. Although this price was somewhat out of their expectations, they would definitely increase the price, because they also had mid-grade Earth-step treasures. Sure enough, in the next moment, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun made a bid. 1 mid-grade Earth-step treasure, plus 2 low-grade Earth-step treasures. After the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun, the 4 symbols Saint Sun, and the Reverence Moon Saintess also bid mid-grade Earth-step treasures, plus a few low-grade treasures. The price was getting higher and higher. Now, other than the saints, only the elders and experts of the major sects and forces were bidding. The other kings could only watch from the sidelines. Among them, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun was going all out because he was determined to get the innate purple thunder stone. But at this time, Lin Xian made another bid. 2 mid-grade Earth-step treasures. What? 2? Hearing this, everyone's scalp went numb. Their eyes widened as if they couldn't believe their ears. The few saints almost spat out a mouthful of blood. They were about to go mad with anger because the price they had bid was a mid-grade artifact and a few low-grade artifacts. Who would directly bid 2 mid-grade treasures? Were mid-grade Earth-step treasures cabbages? Many people even suspected that Lin Xian was raising the price again. This time, Lin Xian didn't hesitate and directly bid another mid-grade Earth-step treasure. It was a long silver spear that emitted a terrifying aura. It was extremely sharp, as if it could pierce through the void. F***CK. Everyone went crazy as they stared fixedly at the sky. Moreover, many experts' eyes were like lightning, locking onto Lin Xian's VIP pavilion. They realized that the other party could actually take out 2 mid-grade Earth-step treasures. Chapter 1839. This was too incredible. At this moment, many people had their eyes on Lin Xian. Compared to the innate purple thunderstone, they felt that Lin Xian was easier to deal with. However, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun's face darkened. He had already surpassed the Reverence Moon Saintess and the 4 symbols Saint Sun. In his opinion, the innate purple thunderstone was already his. However, he didn't expect that Lin Xian would appear again. Moreover, he directly raised the price to 2 mid-grade artifacts. This drove him crazy. Damn it. How can this kid have so many treasures? Wasn't he just a rogue cultivator? The 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. To be honest, he now suspected that Lin Xian was a genius secretly cultivated by some holy ground. Otherwise, he couldn't be so rich. Chow Yun's face also darkened. He said in a low voice, "Brother Lei, why don't we give up and let this kid get the innate purple thunder stone? Then, when we leave the Purple Cloud Palace, we can kill him and take his treasures." Hearing this, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun was tempted. This was indeed a good idea, because this way, he could get the innate purple thunderstone and save a lot of treasures. However, he soon shook his head. Because Lin Xian was so high profile now, he was afraid that he would be targeted by more than 1 or 2 people. If other experts made a move and something happened, they would lose the innate purple thunderstone. The 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun wouldn't be able to accept it. Therefore, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun planned to fight for it. After all, 2 mid-grade Earth rank artifacts was still within an acceptable price. Humph. I don't believe that I can't compete with a rogue cultivator in terms of wealth. As a Saint Sun, he was extremely rich. Therefore, he could also afford 2 mid-grade Earth rank artifacts. And this time, he decided to pay a high price so that everyone could only look up to him and couldn't fight back. Otherwise, if this continued, the final price would be ridiculously high. Therefore, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun said in a deep voice, 2 mid-grade earth rank artifacts and an ancient herb. Another bid. Hearing this, everyone was shocked again and then began to discuss. Ancient herb? Everyone was puzzled. What kind of ancient medicine could actually compare to a mid-grade earth-step treasure? Upon hearing this, even the ancient cultivators on the crystal auction platform were stunned. In the next moment, he asked in a low voice, "What ancient medicine is this?" There were many types of ancient medicines. They were of different ages, types, and effects. Naturally, their prices would be different as well. Therefore, the ancient cultivators had to first determine what kind of ancient medicine the 10,000 Thunder Saint was talking about. The others also pricked up their ears and listened carefully because they were also very curious. Meanwhile, the Saint Child proudly said, "This ancient medicine was cut out from a stone. After the final appraisal, it should be the root of the ancient 1,000 Buddha flower." What? The ancient medicine that was cut out? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. They knew how to cut stones. Those stones were incomparably mysterious. Some of them could produce divine crystals, and of course, there were some that could produce ancient medicines. However, the probability of finding an ancient medicine was much lower. Who would have thought that the 10,000 Thunder Saint would have such an ancient medicine in his possession? Although it was only a root and not complete, its value absolutely surpassed that of a medium-grade earth-step treasure. This 10,000 Thunder Saint Child is really generous, Yeah, it seems like he is determined to get the innate purple thunderstone. Of course, the innate purple thunderstone not only contains innate will, but also purple divine lightning. This thing is very suitable for the 10,000 Thunder Saint Child. A discussion broke out. Obviously, in everyone's opinion, the innate purple thunderstone must belong to the 10,000 Thunder Saint Child. Sure enough, at this moment, the Reverence Moon Saintess and the 4 symbols Saint Child's expression turned solemn, because this price was beyond their ability to bear. Even if they had the ancient medicine in their possession, they would not take it out. Soon, the 2 of them gave up. Not only them, but other experts and elders also shook their heads and gave up. Even the ancient cultivators on the crystal auction platform had a solemn expression, because he did not expect that the other party would take out an ancient medicine to exchange. This was really a pleasant surprise. In the VIP room, Lu Mingyue frowned. What should we do? Damn that 10,000 Thunder Saint Child. He is crazy enough to take out an ancient medicine to exchange. Why don't we give up? After leaving the Purple Cloud Palace, we can rob him directly. It seemed like Lu Mingyue was really anxious. She was even willing to rob a Saint Child. Lin Xian shook his head. Don't worry, it's just an ancient medicine. What's the big deal? Moreover, it's a remnant root. Originally, he wanted to compete with the number of mid-grade earth rank artifacts, but he actually wants to compete with spiritual herbs? He really doesn't know what's good for him. Indeed, the number of spiritual herbs in Lin Xian's hands was more than the number of mid-grade earth rank artifacts. After all, he was an alchemist, and he had a lot of spiritual herbs in his hands. Moreover, he had also obtained a lot of non-precious spiritual herbs in the oblique moon world. Therefore, he was not anxious at all. Everyone outside fell silent. The 10,000 Thunder Saint Child raised his chin proudly and prepared to receive the innate purple thunderstone. But at this time, a lazy voice sounded. It's just a remnant ancient medicine. What's the big deal? I offer 2 mid-grade earth rank artifacts and a 3,000-year-old ancient medicine. This voice naturally belonged to Lin Xian. The others were stunned when they heard this because they did not expect Lin Xian to make another bid. There's really a good show to watch. On the other side, the Reverence Moon Saintess lips curled up slightly. The 4 symbols Saint Child leaned back in his rattan chair, enjoying the show while sipping his wine. The other experts were also paying attention. Although they would not bid anymore, it did not stop them from watching the show. Chao Yan sneered after hearing this. Kid, I think water has entered your brain. We're offering an ancient medicine, incomparably precious. You actually took out a 3,000-year-old spiritual herb? What an idiot. How can this thing be compared with us? Indeed, A 3,000-year-old spiritual herb was precious, but it was nothing compared to an ancient medicine. Not only Chao Yun, but the others were also stunned. They thought that Lin Xian was too childish this time. Humph, as expected of a rogue cultivator. Ignorant. The 10,000 Thunder Saint Child sneered. He could not even tell which spiritual herb was precious. What an idiot. Hearing these mocking words, Lin Xian was very indifferent. He said in a deep voice, "What do you know? Although my spiritual herb is only 3,000-year-old, its effect is surprisingly good." What effect? Why don't you tell us? Chao Yun sneered because he did not believe that a 3,000-year-old spiritual herb could be compared with the ancient medicine in their hands. Chapter 1840. What effect does it have? Why don't you tell us about it? Chao Yun sneered because he really did not believe that a 3,000-year-old spirit medicine could compare to the ancient medicine in their hands. Didn't your face hurt from the slap just now? Hearing Chao Yun hooting again, Lin Xian sneered. Since you want to be slapped in the face again, then I'll fulfill your wish. This old medicine of mine can increase a martial artist's lifespan. What? Increase a martial artist's lifespan? Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. The next moment, everyone was in an uproar, each and every one of them extremely shocked. Spirit medicines had myriad effects. Some could heal injuries, some could increase skill, but there was also a type that could increase a martial artist's lifespan. But this kind of spirit medicine was seriously too rare. Rumor had it that every great emperor had a stock of immortal divine medicine that could allow the great emperor to live another lifetime. That kind of immortal divine medicine could increase lifespan. It was just that that kind of divine medicine was very rare. There were only a few stocks in tens of millions of years. However, apart from the immortal divine medicine, there were also some spirit medicines that had the effect of increasing lifespan. It was just that the increase was not that exaggerated. This kind of spirit medicine could also be encountered but not sought. Even if someone had it, they would not take it out and would keep it for themselves to consume. Everyone did not expect that they could actually see this kind of divine medicine here. Inside the VIP pavilion, Lu Mingyue also opened her eyes wide. What are you doing? Are you crazy? Why would you take out such a divine medicine? To be honest, she was too shocked. One had to know that what a martial artist pursued in the end was power and lifespan. Especially for those ancient fossil-level martial artists who were about to die. Even if they could live for another day, to them, they would fight for it with everything they had. This kind of medicine could be said to be incomparably precious. However, Lu Mingyue could not understand why Lin Xian would take it out. Could it be that he did not know the preciousness of this medicine? Lin Xian shrugged. Don't worry. Although this thing is a treasure in your eyes, it's just SOSO in front of me. Just like that, the corners of Lu Mingyue's mouth twitched. She even suspected that Lin Xian had a problem with his brain. However, Lin Xian was not wrong. He still had a few stocks of medicine that could increase lifespan like this in his hands. Moreover, the stock that he took out was also a defective product. He didn't like it at all. That was his foundation. Although he couldn't compare to those saints in terms of quantity, perhaps no one could compare to him in terms of quality. Outside the VIP pavilion, everyone was stunned. The Reverence Moon Saintess and the four divine symbols holy sons were bewildered. If it was really a spiritual herb that could increase one's lifespan, it would be too precious. Chao Yun's face also darkened. However, he still instinctively refused to believe it, because he really didn't believe that the other party would be willing to take out such a precious spiritual medicine. However, this time, before he could ridicule and ask the Gu family to examine it, the Gu family suddenly stopped him. Gu Xiao from the Gu clan said in a deep voice, "Young master, this matter is too important. Can you let us examine it first?" To be honest, he was too shocked. When the other party had taken out two mid-grade Earthstep artifacts, it had already shocked him. Who would have thought that the other party would take out a spirit herb that could increase one's lifespan? Sure, feel free to check. Lin Xian nodded calmly. He wasn't faking it, so naturally, he wasn't afraid of being checked. In the next moment, Gu Xiao transmitted his voice. Not long after, two old figures appeared in the void. One was an old man, and the other was an old lady. Both of them had a head full of white hair. Their figures were like ghosts as they arrived at Lin Xian's VIP pavilion in an instant. "Young master, are you sure you have a spiritual medicine that can increase one's lifespan? Let us take a look." These two old men were the elders of the Gu clan. When they heard the news, they were also extremely excited. Logically speaking, the Gu clan also had this kind of spiritual medicine. However, no one would complain about having more. Lin Xian nodded. With a wave of his sleeve, a palm-sized spiritual medicine appeared in his hand. Although this spiritual medicine was the size of a palm, there were many flaws on it. Seeing this scene, the two elders' expressions turned solemn. It was actually an incomplete spiritual medicine. No wonder the other party was willing to auction it. However, if it could really increase one's lifespan, even if it was incomplete, it was still extremely precious. To be honest, Lin Xian still had a complete spiritual medicine in his hands. However, he wouldn't take it out. The two elders of the Gu clan received the spiritual medicine and examined it carefully. Subsequently, the light in their eyes became brighter and brighter. It seems to be the five spirits' divine flower. The two of them were extremely shocked. They realized that this was indeed a spiritual medicine that could increase one's lifespan. "Young master, may I ask where you obtained this spiritual medicine?" The two elders asked excitedly. They were very curious. How could a young man have such a precious medicine? "I obtained it in the tilted moon mystic world," Lin Xian said indifferently. "At that time, it grew beside the nest of a peerless beast. I spent a lot of effort to obtain it." The tilted moon mystic world. Hearing this, the two elders were surprised. They knew about the tilted moon mystic world. Previously, it had caused an uproar. However, they didn't expect this spiritual medicine to come from the tilted moon mystic world. After hearing this news, the two of them sighed and were somewhat disappointed. This was because the tilted moon mystic world had already closed. If they wanted to enter again, it would probably be a few hundred years later. After returning the spiritual medicine, the two elders left the VIP pavilion. In the next moment, they appeared above the main hall. Then, the elders said in a deep voice, "That's right. After our appraisal, it should be the five spirits' divine flower. It is indeed a divine medicine that can increase one's lifespan. Moreover, it is around 3,000 years old." Boom. Hearing this, everyone was in an uproar. Some even went crazy, because they really didn't expect this young man to have such a medicine. At this moment, the Reverence Moon Saintess, the four symbols Holy Sons, and the other elders all looked solemn. The Thousand Lightning Holy Son's face darkened. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood, because he didn't expect this young man to really take out a spiritual medicine that could increase one's lifespan. This was definitely more precious than his ancient medicine. Damn brat. The Thousand Lightning Holy Son's eyes were filled with killing intent. On the other side, Chao Yun was even more confused. This time, he was slapped in the face by the young man again. He couldn't accept this. "Damn brat, you can be arrogant as much as you want now. Wait until the auction is over. I'll show you." Chao Yun gritted his teeth. He swore that after the auction was over, he would kill the young man. After Lin Xian took out a spiritual medicine that could increase one's lifespan, there was no suspense in this auction. In the end, the innate purple thunderstone belonged to Lin Xian. At this point, Lu Mingyue heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian was also excited. Because of this innate purple thunderstone, the next step of his plan could be carried out. Lin Xian didn't care about the rest of the auction. He only needed to wait for the auction to end and go backstage to exchange for the innate purple thunderstone. In another private room, the Thousand Lightning Holy Son's face darkened. He didn't expect that he would fail in this auction. "Brother Lei, what should we do? Should we kill him and rob him?" Chapter 1841. In another VIP pavilion, the Thousand Thunder Saints' face darkened. He didn't expect that he would fail this auction. "Brother Lei, what should we do? Should we kill him and rob him?" Beside him, Chao Yun was also gnashing his teeth. As a saint candidate, he had a noble status, but today, he had been slapped in the face twice. This was unbearable. He wanted nothing more than to kill the other party to relieve the hatred in his heart. The Thousand Thunder Saint narrowed his eyes. Don't you have another battle with him? How about this? After the auction is over, you and he will go to the battle area on the first floor and use the Khanate Purple Thunderstone as the bet. No matter how powerful that kid is, I'm afraid he's no match for you. If you help me win the Khanate Purple Thunderstone, I'll find a way to make you the real saint candidate. What? Are you telling the truth? Hearing this, Chao Yun was tempted. He couldn't help but be tempted. He was only a saint candidate, and there was still a big difference between him and a real saint. Not to mention the strength, just the resources and the support of the sect alone were many times worse than that of the other side. One had to know that the saints of the various sacred grounds were trained according to the future sect leader of the sacred ground. That status was extremely honorable. It could be said that as long as he became a saint, he would definitely be the top existence in the eastern wilderness in the future. Therefore, how could Chao Yun not be tempted? He hurriedly said, "Don't worry, Brother Lei. I'll definitely help you win the Khanate Purple Thunderstone and kill that kid with my own hands." Next, a few more items were auctioned in the main hall. Finally, the auction ended smoothly. Many treasures appeared in this auction, some of which were extremely precious. As for those people who were photographed, they all had smiles on their faces and were feeling very satisfied. Those who didn't get it were a little disappointed, but they were also excited, because today they had witnessed a lot of shocking wealth. This kind of scene was not usually seen. Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue also left the VIP pavilion and went backstage on the 5th floor. They exchanged 2 mid-grade Earth-rank artifacts and a 3,000-year-old old herb for the Khanate Purple Thunderstone. When Lin Xian put the Khanate Purple Thunderstone into the Black Earth, the two of them were completely relieved. Now that they had gotten what they wanted, the next step was to find a place to let the Crimson Dragon complete the formation. Then, they could set up a killing trap and kill the Saint of All Beginnings. Guxiu also took out 2 purple tokens with a smile and gave them to Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue. This is the Purple Cloud Palace's Purple Cloud token. You're a top VIP. If you come here in the future, you can enjoy a 50% discount with this badge. You can choose any of the VIP rooms on the 5th floor as your resting place. Thank you, Senior. Lin Xian was overjoyed as he took the Violet Cloud Command Medallion. With this item, the cost of coming to the Purple Cloud Palace in the future would be much cheaper. After that, Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue quickly left. They knew that they were too high-profile this time, and many experts had their eyes on them. The two of them decided that after leaving the Purple Cloud Palace, they would find a safe place to hide for a while and lie low. However, just as they left the backstage, they were stopped by someone. They were the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun and Chao Yun. "Get out of my way." Lin Xian's face darkened. He didn't have time to mess around with them. "Boy, you're courting death." Chao Yun was furious. Although he had been slapped in the face twice, he was still a candidate saint. The other party was just a small rogue cultivator. How dare he scold him? He was truly audacious. The Saint of All Thunder's face was even gloomier. He was a real saint with a noble status. How dare the other party tell him to get out of the way? He was really courting death. The kings around were about to leave, but they all stopped when they saw this scene. They knew that a good show was about to begin. Many of them sneered because they were afraid that Lin Xian would run away, and they wouldn't be able to catch him. They didn't expect that someone would stop them, which was exactly what they wanted. "Boy, are you so arrogant? But do you think you can leave so easily after getting the Khanate Purple Spirit Stone? How naive." Chao Yun's cold eyes were like sharp swords as he stared at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted. "Why? Are you going to fight here? Aren't you afraid of breaking the rules of the Purple Cloud Palace and being slapped to death by the Almighty?" To be honest, he really didn't understand where the other party got his confidence and arrogance from. He was just a candidate saint. What was there to be arrogant about? "Don't worry, I won't fight here, and I won't break the rules of the Purple Cloud Palace." Chao Yun sneered. "So, don't expect the Almighty to deal with me. I said before that after the auction is over, we'll go to the battle area on the 1st floor and fight to the death. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me. Do you think I'll go just because you say so?" Lin Xian sneered. He didn't have the time to fight with the other party now. "Boy, You can choose not to go. But I can guarantee that as long as you leave the Purple Cloud Palace, you'll be hunted down by the Thousand Thunders sacred land and the holy land of all beginnings. At this moment, the Saint of all Thunder spoke. Hearing this, everyone's scalp went numb. They knew that the Saint of all Thunder was really angry. Lu Mingyue was also anxious. The current situation was very unfavorable for them. So, in the next moment, she looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian was calm. The more dangerous the situation was, the calmer he was. This was his instinct, and also the excellent habit of an expert. He asked in a deep voice, "Do you really want to fight with me?" "Of course." "What, boy, are you afraid?" Chao Yun snorted. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Lin Xian shook his head. "Let's go to the battle area on the first floor." Hearing this, Chao Yun smiled. The Saint of all Thunder also narrowed his eyes. They had achieved their goal. The surrounding warriors were in an uproar. They were shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to agree to this battle. Where did his confidence come from? He dared to fight with Chao Yun? Didn't he know that Chao Yun was a candidate saint? His strength was much more terrifying than Liang Zhang's. There will be a good show to watch this time. The Reverence Moon Saintess was also interested. The four symbols saint snorted. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Because in his opinion, there was no suspense in this battle. Chao Yun would definitely win. A group of people set off toward the battle area in a mighty manner. The first floor of the main hall was somewhat deserted. That was because the experts, geniuses, and saints had all left. The remaining people did not have much interest. But suddenly, they saw a large group of experts heading toward the first floor. And it seemed that they were heading toward the battle area. Suddenly, everyone was energized. What's going on? Are there people fighting again? Everyone started to gather in front of them. Chapter 1842. During this time, news of the auction on the fifth floor spread. Soon, all of the kings in the hall on the first floor knew about it. When they learned that Lin Xian had slapped the Holy Sun candidate's face twice, suppressed the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun, and obtained the innate purple lightning stone, they were all extremely shocked. This was simply a heaven-defying miracle. Moreover, the other party was going to fight the Holy Sun candidate of the All Beginnings Holy Ground, Chao Yun. This was absolutely earth-shattering news. Therefore, all the kings on the first floor headed toward the battle zone. They couldn't miss such a wonderful battle. Chao Yun strode forward. He was the first to arrive at the battle zone. Then, he spent a large amount of money to purchase a battle quota. Afterward, he turned around and looked at Lin Xian with a provocative expression. Lin Xian leisurely walked forward and took out the purple cloud token he had just obtained. Immediately, a middle-aged man appeared in the void and said respectfully, "You are the most honored guest of our Purple Cloud Palace. Therefore, you will enjoy a 50% discount on all your purchases in the Purple Cloud Palace." What? 50% discount? Hearing this, everyone's eyes widened in disbelief. Even the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun, the Reverence Moon Saintess, and the others frowned. After all, even they didn't receive such treatment. Chao Yun was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Originally, he had a provocative expression, but now, his face had turned completely black. One must know that he had spent the full price to purchase the battle quota. However, the other party had taken out a token and he could use it at half price. This was definitely a huge gap. He hadn't expected that he would lose to the other party so much in terms of momentum before the battle even started. This made Chao Yun extremely angry. The kings in the surroundings cried out in alarm. They didn't even dare to believe it. They knew about the purple jade token. It was something that only the highest-ranked people in the Purple Cloud Palace could possess. There were very few such quotas. Even the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun and the others didn't possess one. However, they hadn't expected that Lin Xian would actually possess one. One could imagine how much importance the Purple Cloud Palace attached to Lin Xian. Who exactly is this brat? How could he be so important to the Gu family? He even had a purple cloud token. This was truly surprising. Why do I feel that this match will also be surprising? No way. Are you saying that this kid will win? That's impossible. His opponent is the Holy Sun candidate of the All Beginnings Holy Ground. That's an extremely powerful existence. I'm afraid that only the true chosen can defeat it. Everyone was talking about it. Initially, they didn't think highly of Lin and Xian, but now they had changed their minds. Because they realized that they were unable to predict the outcome of this battle. A battle with an unpredictable outcome was the most exciting battle, because no one knew what would happen next. Lin Xian paid half the price for the battle slot and then went to the battle area. He looked at the other party and said indifferently, "What? Can we start now?" "Humph." Chao Yun snorted coldly, gnashing his teeth in anger. However, he had not forgotten about the important matter. Therefore, in the next moment, he said coldly, "The competition can be carried out sooner or later. But boy, do you dare to make a bet with me?" "Bet? Bet on what?" "If you bet on this battle, you will definitely lose. If you lose, hand over the innate purple thunder stone in your hand." "Do you dare? You still want to bet?" Seeing this, the surrounding people became excited. They discovered that Chao Yun's ultimate goal seemed to be the innate purple thunder stone. "Boy, you don't have any guts, right? You don't dare." Chao Yun sneered, appearing extremely arrogant. Lin Xian shook his head. There was no need to provoke him. "In this world, there is nothing that I don't dare to do. However, if you want me to use the innate purple thunderstone as a bet, that will depend on whether or not you can take out an equivalent treasure. If you can't take out a treasure of equal value to the innate purple thunderstone, I have no interest in gambling with you." Lin Xian wasn't afraid of gambling. What he was most afraid of was Chao Yun trying to gain something without risking anything. Chao Yun snorted coldly. "Don't worry. As a Holy Sun candidate, I am someone with status. How could I act shamelessly?" After saying that, Chao Yun took out a jade bottle. There are 3 drops of 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid inside. Each drop is incomparably precious. It can even bring seriously injured people on the verge of death back to life. I'm using it as a bet. It should be enough to qualify, right? 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid. Everyone was shocked, drawing a cold breath. This was absolutely good stuff, especially when one was seriously injured in battle. Dripping a drop, one could immediately be brimming with vitality. One could say that it was an extra life. Everyone did not expect that Chao Yun actually used such a precious thing as a bet. Truly extravagant. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes too. This thing was also extremely tempting to him, because this was similarly effective for him. It was just that he did not expect that Chao Yun was actually willing to take out such a treasure. How could Lin Xian know that in Chao Yun's view, the other party was very confident in this battle? Therefore, no matter what treasure he took out, he would not lose. Hence, that was why Chao Yun dared to take out the 10,000-year-old spiritual liquid that he had treasured for a long time. "Okay, since that's the case, I promise you." Lin Xian nodded. Both sides' bets had been confirmed. Next was to watch the battle. In the next moment, Chao Yun snorted coldly. His gaze was like lightning, and a terrifying aura rose from his body. Like a blade light, it pressed down on everyone until they could not breathe. His wild hair fluttered in the wind. His entire person was like a peerless demon, emitting a terrifying aura. "Kid, go to hell." Chao Yun sneered and quickly charged towards Lin Xian. But in the next moment, his eyes suddenly swayed, and the surrounding scene actually disappeared. It was no longer the resplendent hall, but another world. It was incomparably sharp. Sword chi that filled the sky surged over like waves. Sword chi soared into the sky one after another, each one causing one's heart to palpitate. This was no longer the Purple Cloud Palace, but a Sword Dao world. That's right, this was indeed a Sword Dao world. Moreover, it was Lin Xian's Dragon Sword domain. Facing Chao Yun, Lin Xian directly displayed the Dragon Sword domain, enveloping the other party. That was why the scene from before had occurred. The Dragon Sword domain was incomparably terrifying. It transformed into a Sword Dao world, completely enveloping Chao Yun. All the hair on Chao Yun's body stood up. He felt an extremely sharp aura surrounding him. There was even the sound of sword chi fighting, causing his heart to palpitate. "Ah, get lost." Chao Yun was furious. He knew that he was enveloped by the other party's domain. Therefore, in the next moment, he roared. He roared towards the sky, his terrifying voice piercing through the clouds. Boom, boom, boom. The entire void trembled rapidly, but it was unable to shake the dragon sword domain. However, he was also very decisive. He directly displayed his own domain to resist the dragon sword domain. Around his body, light shone brightly, erupting with terrifying chaotic light. It was like an overwhelming energy flow that swept in all directions. Chapter 1843. Boom, boom, boom. The chaotic light collided with the sword chi in the sky, creating an earth-shattering sound. The terrifying energy tore through the void, turning it into nothingness. After displaying the king domain, Chao Yun's aura rose again. A terrifying light burst out from his eyes, turning into chaotic light that swept in all directions. Not only that, he waved his fists and bombarded the area in front of him, wanting to leave the domain. An intense collision erupted, and the surrounding kings exclaimed. This battle was simply too intense. There was such a commotion right from the start. It was obvious that both of them were extremely powerful existences. However, the Thousand Thunder Saint, the Four Symbols Saint, the Reverence Moon Saintess, and the other experts looked solemn. This was because they could see the real battle situation through the light in the sky. The real battle situation was that Chao Yun was being suppressed. From the beginning of the battle, he was being suppressed. This really surprised them. One had to know that Chao Yun was a saint candidate, and his strength was only slightly weaker than theirs. It could be said that he was an extremely powerful existence. Even so, he was still unable to defeat Lin Xian. He was even being suppressed by the other party. This was really surprising. Get out of my way. Chao Yun waved his fists crazily and displayed a terrifying martial art. The chaotic light and chaotic chi in the sky tumbled, forming a terrifying light that tore through the void. In the next moment, his figure swayed, and he escaped through the sword chi in the sky. Humph! Chao Yun snorted and heaved a sigh of relief, just as he was about to counterattack. However, the scene around him quickly turned into sword chi in the sky. He was once again enveloped by the dragon sword spiritual domain. The sword chi swept across, shattering the void. The terrifying sword light enveloped everything and quickly slashed toward Chao Yun. The dragon sword spiritual domain was too terrifying. Every sword chi could destroy the heavens and earth. One could imagine its power. Facing the saint candidate, Lin Xian did not hold back at all. He frantically activated the dragon sword spiritual domain. Chao Yun's expression was extremely ugly. He had just escaped, but he did not expect to return to the other party's domain. He could not believe it. Impossible. This kid is just a 5-star king, an ordinary rogue cultivator. How can he be so powerful? Sensing the terrifying sword chi in the surroundings, Chao Yun is about to go crazy. This king's domain was simply too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than his own domain. It was hard to imagine that this was the domain of a rogue cultivator. Flame of primal chaos, come out. Chao Yun's face was gloomy. He activated his king's domain. Suddenly, red flames flashed around him and swept out in all directions. Boom, boom. For a time, these primal chaos flames set off a sea of fire that filled the sky, releasing a terrifying aura that swept out in all directions, resisting the sword light that filled the sky. Roar! Not only that, this sea of flames condensed into a fire qilin, roaring endlessly, releasing the power of wind and thunder. Pong! The fire qilin was extremely powerful. It waved its terrifying flaming beast claw and slapped away a lot of sword chi. Without a doubt, this was a powerful ability. At this moment, Chao Yun did not hesitate to use it at all costs. Its power was so strong that even the sword chi was sent flying. After temporarily slapping away the surrounding sword chi, Chao Yun's face was terrifyingly gloomy. His gaze was like that of a wild beast as he swept his gaze in all directions, searching for Lin Xian. Boom! In the next moment, he stood on the fire qilin and formed a seal with his palm. Immediately, the fire qilin spat out a fireball that was like the sun. It rushed forward and forcefully blasted away countless sword chi. This caused a vacuum to appear in front of him. This time, he finally saw Lin Xian's direction clearly. "Kid, go to hell." Chao Yun's hair fluttered in the wind, and his entire body was extremely cold. He rode the fire qilin and ran forward crazily. At the same time, flames that filled the sky condensed in his hand, forming a long spear that was as red as fire. The long spear was incomparably dazzling and carried a monstrous heat. He waved it gently, sending out shocking long rainbows that pierced through the void. Accompanying it was a terrifying killing intent that shook the heavens and the earth. This was a mid-grade Earth-rank artifact, Chao Yun's natal weapon. At this moment, he held it in his hand and swept it in all directions, charging towards Lin Xian. Boom! Seeing that the other party was coming, Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not dodge. He pulled out the 9 Darkness Demon sword from the void and slashed it down with all his might. Clang! The terrifying sword light was invincible. It swept in all directions and collided with the fiery red spear that filled the sky. Suddenly, the entire void trembled rapidly and a big explosion occurred. In the end, terrifying black holes were formed one after another. What? How can his combat strength be so powerful? After the exchange, Chao Yun was shocked. He originally thought that the reason why he was suppressed now was because the other party had suddenly attacked and caught him off guard. That was why he was suppressed. However, he was still unable to suppress the other party in a head-on confrontation. The other party's terrifying sword chi even numbed his arm and caused the spiritual power in his body to surge. This was definitely not something that an ordinary person or even a sneak attack could do. In other words, the other party was definitely powerful, at least not weaker than him. In fact, the other party was even stronger than him. If he wasn't treated in time, his cultivation realm would probably fall, and his combat strength would be very low for a long time. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked, because this result was something they had never expected. One had to know that Chao Yun was the holy son of the All Beginnings Holy Ground. He was very powerful and was only slightly weaker than a true holy son. Therefore, in everyone's opinion, only a true holy son could defeat Chao Yun. Otherwise, no one would be able to defeat Chao Yun. But now, Lin Xian had done it. This greatly shocked everyone. Could it be that this brat is already a holy son? Heavens, this is too inconceivable. Although he is only a 5-star king, his combat strength has already reached the holy sun level. I see that the demonic sword in his hand is very strange. I estimate it to be a high-grade Earthstep treasure. Perhaps he was only able to defeat Chao Yun by relying on the might of that demonic sword. Discussions rang out one after another. It was clear that everyone was unable to accept this fact for the time being. As for Chao Yun, he was holding his spear and half kneeling on the ground, supporting his body so that he wouldn't fall. His eyes were filled with fear, and his complexion was pale. Holy Sun level. Your combat strength has actually reached the Holy Sun level. How is this possible? He didn't dare to believe that an ant that he looked down on would have such a powerful combat strength that far surpassed his own. Lin Xian coldly snorted. This was only the beginning. He had only used 70% of his strength. He hadn't even used his full strength. Of course, he wouldn't tell those people about this. In the next instant, he coldly stared at Chao Yun. Chapter 1845. Of course, he wouldn't tell those people that he was hiding his strength. In the next instant, Lin Xian coldly snorted and stared at Chao Yun with an ice-cold gaze. You win. The 3 drops of 10,000-year spiritual liquid are yours. Chao Yun clenched his teeth with an extremely unresigned expression. But what could he do? He couldn't defeat the other party. If this continued, he would probably be killed by the other party. However, he had already made up his mind. He absolutely couldn't allow such a powerful enemy to grow. Therefore, when he left the battlefield, he would contact the elders and experts of the All Beginnings Holy Land to kill the other party. Since they were already enemies, he couldn't allow the other party to continue growing. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to sleep in the future. When the battle ends, I will naturally obtain my spoils of war. But for now, I have other things to do. Lin Xian walked forward step by step. What are you planning to do? Chao Yun was scared when he saw the other party walking toward him. What am I planning to do? Lin Xian sneered. Naturally, I'm going to deal with you. What? You dare to kill me? Chao Yun was dumbfounded upon hearing this. He didn't dare to imagine that the other party would actually dare to attack him. Wasn't the other party afraid of the All Beginnings Holy Land's revenge? The surrounding kings were also stunned. They didn't dare to believe their eyes. This brat wanted to attack a successor holy son? Was he crazy? Brat, I'm warning you. I'm the successor holy son of the All Beginnings Holy Land. If something happens to me, the All Beginnings Holy Land won't let you off. Chao Yun clenched his teeth and roared. He wanted to use the All Beginnings Holy Land to intimidate the other party. However, it was clear that he had made the wrong decision this time. Lin Xian didn't fear the All Beginnings Holy Land at all. One had to know that in a few days, Lin Xian was going to kill the All Beginnings Holy Daughter. That was a true holy daughter, not to mention the current Chao Yun, who was merely a successor holy son. Moreover, the other party had repeatedly found fault with him. With Lin Xian's character, he absolutely wouldn't allow such a person to live in this world. Therefore, he didn't say anything. Instead, he tightened his grip on the 9 underworld devil sword and strode forward. With each step, his killing intent, he became stronger. In the end, he looked like a god of death. Gulp, gulp. Everyone swallowed their saliva because they thought that the other party was just joking. But now, it seemed like Lin Xian was going to be serious. Chao Yun was also afraid. He realized that the other party seemed to be serious, so in the next moment, he hurriedly swallowed all the healing pills in his hand. He quickly stood up. Since you want to kill me, I won't let you have it easy either. Even if I die, I will drag you down with me. Chao Yun was like a malicious spirit. As a latecomer saint, his net worth was also very rich. The healing panacea melted in his body and unleashed its powerful medicinal effects, repairing his body. His red hair fluttered in the wind, and his entire body emitted a blazing aura. Qilin arm. Since he knew that he couldn't escape and the other party wanted to kill him, Chao Yun naturally had to risk his life. At this moment, he pushed his strength to the limit. Even if there would be some side effects, he did not care. With a cold shout, the fire Qilin beside him roared angrily. Soon after, the sky was filled with flames. The fire Qilin quickly transformed and fused into Chao Yun's left hand. Boom! The clothes on Chao Yun's left side exploded, and a sturdy arm appeared, surrounded by flames. Moreover, it formed a lifelike Qilin pattern. A violent and monstrous heat wave was emitted from the arm. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He felt the power of a domain from the other party's arm. Obviously, the other party had used some kind of divine ability to combine his king's domain with his arm. In this way, the power would probably be even stronger. After displaying the Qilin arm, Chao Yun was like a god of fire. His right hand held a bright red spear that was as red as fire. Brat, trying to kill me is the biggest mistake you've ever made. Now, go to hell. Chao Yun roared. He had used a secret technique to forcefully increase his combat strength, and there was no difference between him and a true saint. The only difference was that after this battle, there would be side effects in his body that would be more difficult to get rid of. But now, his combat strength was absolutely terrifying. Buzz! He thrust out his spear, and the fiery red spear turned into a divine rainbow that covered the sky, enveloping the front. The heat wave was unbearable. Even a 6-star king would probably be burned to ashes by this heat wave. Lin Xian snorted as well, and the great dragon sword soul in his body circulated crazily. The dragon sword domain shone beside him. He swung his sword, and a huge sword chi descended from the sky like a mountain. It slashed forward. Qilin arm. Seeing this, Chao Yun roared as he clenched his left hand into a fist and punched out quickly. Roar! This punch illuminated the entire hall in a fiery red color. Then, a fire Qilin rushed out from the fiery light all over the sky. This power made everyone's hair stand on end. Even the Thousand Thunder Saint Sun, the Reverence Moon Saintess, and the Four Symbols Saint Sun looked solemn. This was because this power was on par with them. It was enough to threaten them. What a terrifying Qilin arm. I didn't expect Qiao Yun to have such a divine ability. A few of them looked solemn, and the weaker kings were already kneeling on the ground, their faces pale. Qilin arm? Lin Xian squinted his eyes. He also felt a sense of danger. Let's see if your Qilin arm is stronger or my black dragon fist is stronger. In the next moment, he clenched his left hand into a fist as well, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. The shadow of a black dragon hovered above his left arm, looking extremely ferocious as if it was real. Dragon roaring in the 9 heavens. He punched out, and the terrifying black dragon tore through the void with apocalyptic energy, rushing forward. In the battle area, the void collapsed, and a large black hole and countless cracks appeared. A black dragon moved freely in the middle. Boom, boom. In the next moment, the black dragon fist and the Qilin arm collided, and a shocking collision occurred. The entire hall was shrouded by the two energies. One was as black as ink and exuded a destructive aura. The other was as red as fire, spreading out like a sea of fire. The two energies clashed in the air, annihilated each other, and then tore apart. In the end, the entire hall was shrouded in dazzling light, and no one could open their eyes. Not to mention checking the situation in front. In the end, even the Chosens closed their eyes. They waited quietly for the result. Whoosh, whoosh. What's going on? Everyone craned their necks and looked ahead. Then, they were stunned. Chapter 1846. What happened? Everyone craned their necks and looked ahead. Soon after, they were stunned. Lin Xian was standing in front of them. Beside him, there was a huge divine dragon phantom protecting him, blocking all the attacks. His surroundings were charred black, and deep pits of various sizes had appeared on the hard ground, emitting a pungent, burnt smell. Those were the remains of the Qilin arm. On the other side, Qiao Yun's eyes were lifeless as he stood there calmly. There was a terrifying dragon claw on his body that had directly hollowed out his heart. Countless huge cracks had appeared on the ground, nearly overturning the entire palace. He died? Qiao Yun actually died. No one dared to believe it. They had never imagined that Qiao Yun would be unable to reverse the situation even after using such a powerful Qilin arm. He had even been killed. What exactly was that black fist? Even a powerful divine ability like the Qilin arm was unable to resist it. Everyone was extremely shocked. Ta, ta, ta. The divine dragon protecting Lin Xian's body gradually disappeared as he walked forward. If one looked carefully, they would discover that every step he took was in the air. It could be said that he did not touch the ground at all. That was because there was still a terrifying heat remaining on the ground. It was left behind by the Qilin arm. It had yet to be extinguished. It could be said that the Qilin arm had given Lin Xian a huge shock. However, it was also a pleasant surprise for him. After all, through the great dragon sword soul in the previous battle, he believed that it would not be long before he could use the great dragon sword soul to imitate the Qilin arm's divine ability. Soon, Lin Xian arrived in front of Qiao Yun. With a wave of his hand, he took away the bottle containing the 3 drops of 10,000 years spiritual liquid. In the next instant, he turned around and met up with Lu Mingyue. The two of them walked out of the Purple Cloud Palace. As for the others, they were in an uproar. They knew that something big was about to happen. After all, the person who had been killed was a Holy Sun candidate of the All Beginnings Holy Ground. The All Beginnings Holy Ground would definitely not leave the matter at that. They would definitely dispatch powerful experts to kill Lin Xian. Furthermore, Lin Xian not only had the innate purple lightning stone, but he also had the 10,000 years spiritual liquid. These were all rare treasures that would definitely make people jealous. Lin Xian was strong, but he was only a holy son after all. Moreover, there were few of them, so there was bound to be someone who would secretly make a move. Thinking about it, the situation in the northern region would definitely change in the next few days. Sure enough, After seeing Lin Xian and Lu Mingyue leave, the myriad Thunder Saint's face turned gloomy, and killing intent emerged in his eyes. Fortunately, he had secretly gathered people in advance and laid an ambush outside. Otherwise, it would be more troublesome now. I didn't expect this Chao Yun to be such a trash. But since that's the case, I'll kill you myself. The 10,000 Thunder Saint sneered. Apart from him, there were a few other experts in the crowd whose eyes flickered. It was obvious that they were also preparing to make their move. The things that Lin Xian had on him really made people jealous. Whoosh, whoosh. After exiting the Purple Cloud Palace, Lin Xian got Lu Mingyue to return to the Black Earth while he executed Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps. His speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he disappeared into the void. You want to run? It's not that easy. The 10,000 Thunder Saint and those experts rushed over and sneered. The next moment, their figures also swayed and disappeared into the void. Obviously, they were chasing after Lin Xian, but soon, they came back with gloomy faces because they had lost track of him. Chao Yun's speed was so fast that they didn't expect it at all. His speed had definitely surpassed that of an ordinary king and had even reached the level of an almighty. Damn it, how can this kid be so fast? No wonder he was so high-profile before and dared to take out so many treasures. It turns out that all of this was part of his plan. With such a fast speed, even an almighty would not be able to catch up with him easily. Sighs could be heard. Obviously, these experts knew that it was impossible to catch Chao Yun. The 10,000 Thunder Saint's face was also frighteningly dark. He had naturally received the news. Then, he gritted his teeth and said, "Damn that kid. How can he be so fast? He must have a precious treasure on him or an ancient rare divine ability. I must find him." The 10,000 Thunder Saint gave the order. He found that Chao Yun was too mysterious. Everything shocked him. It was as if he was pitifully poor compared to the other party. But then, the corners of his mouth raised into a ferocious smile. "Kid, let's see where you can escape to. I've already sealed the Purple Cloud City. I don't believe you can escape." Indeed, in order to catch Lin Xian, the 10,000 Thunder Saint had set up countless backup plans. He had shrouded the Purple Cloud City with a formation. As long as Lin Xian appeared, he believed that he would get the news. At that time, he would bring people to catch Chao Yun. "Men," the 10,000 Thunder Saint said in a deep voice. "Yes, sir." Soon, a man in black appeared in front of him. He half knelt on the ground and was very respectful. "Go and communicate with the people of the Gu family and ask them to help me. As long as you catch this thief, I will reward you handsomely." "Yes." The black-robed man stood up, and with a flash, he disappeared into the void. The 10,000 Thunder Saints sneered. "You dare to play with me? Can you beat the Gu family?" The Gu family's Great Void technique is famous in the world. The Purple Cloud City was an important place of the Gu family. There must be many disciples of the Gu family here. With their help, I'm not afraid that I can't find you. In the end, the 10,000 Thunder Saints smiled proudly. Not long after, the man in black returned and brought a disciple of the Gu family with him. The 10,000 Thunder Saint and the disciple of the Gu family entered the VIP pavilion again. The two of them discussed for a while and then gathered people to set off. On the other side, Lin Xian left the place as soon as he left the Purple Cloud Palace. He used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and his speed reached the extreme, shaking off a group of pursuers. But soon, he frowned, because he found that the entire Purple Cloud Palace was shrouded in a formation. Needless to say, it was done to catch him. "Humph. In that case, I'll hide here first." Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I can take this opportunity to let the Crimson Dragon complete the rest of the formation." So, he found a remote place to land, changed his figure and aura, and hid directly. In the Black Earth, the Crimson Dragon had obtained all the materials and was ready to complete the formation. Lu Mingyue was also in seclusion to cultivate, trying to improve her strength again before taking action. After all, the Saint of all beginnings was not weaker than her before. Now that she had become the Saint, the sacred ground would definitely spare no effort to cultivate her. Her opponent's strength had probably reached a very terrifying level. Therefore, she must do her best to improve her strength. Chapter 1847. At night, the moon was very bright, like a large silver plate hanging high in the night sky. The gentle light sprinkled down, and the earth seemed to be covered with a layer of gauze, white and hazy. Lin Xian was in a dilapidated temple. It was in the outskirts of the city, and there were not many people around. He stood quietly in front of the temple, looking up at the sky. The bright moonlight sprinkled down on his body, forming a layer of gauze. At this moment, Lin Xian's state of mind was unusually calm. The battle during the day was too intense, and he needed some quiet time to take care of his body. At this moment, he had entered an ethereal state, as if he had forgotten everything around him. As for his soul, it was drifting away from his body, appearing high up in the sky and roaming the earth. It was a wonderful feeling, as if Lin Xian had broken away from everything and became an outsider, quietly watching the world. It was not cultivation, but this strange feeling gave Lin Xian a lot of inspiration. He felt that his realm had increased by another level. Just like that, time passed bit by bit. In the latter half of the night, the surroundings were still quiet, but dark clouds appeared, covering the moonlight. Buzz. At this moment, the void suddenly trembled, and a sharp light pierced through the void, ruthlessly stabbing towards Lin Xian. This attack was very sudden, and there were no signs before. Moreover, the attack was very fierce and terrifying. The terrifying light seemed to tear everything apart, and its speed was extremely fast, leaving behind afterimages in the sky. Lin Xian withdrew from the ethereal state, then used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps, and disappeared on the spot. Boom! In the next moment, a pitch-black spear appeared from the void and ruthlessly nailed into the ground. Instantly, countless cracks appeared on the ground, spreading in all directions. Not only that, the black spear was too terrifying, and there were black flames dancing on it. It spread like the flames of hell, covering the entire space. Fortunately, Lin Xian's speed was fast enough to avoid the spear's body. However, the terrifying flames still made his figure visible. What a terrifying killing intent! Lin Xian frowned. This black spear gave him a very dangerous feeling. To be able to give him such a feeling, it was definitely not an ordinary treasure aura. It should be at least a high-grade Earthstep treasure. This kind of weapon was very rare, and not just anyone could have it. The identity of the person who came must be very special. Sure enough, in the next moment, many people appeared in the surrounding void. Each and every one of them was extremely powerful, like a fiend god. Their cold gazes stared ahead, staring at Lin Xian. The leader of the group was a young man with a handsome face. He wore a lightning robe and had a cold smile on his face. It was the 10,000 Thunder Saint. Brat, you're pretty good at dodging. But so what if he could hide? In the end, I still found him. The 10,000 Thunder Saint said coldly. Then, he waved his hand and retrieved the black spear that was stuck in the ground. It really is you. Lin Xian's face darkened as he looked at the scene around him. He had long known that the other party harbored evil intentions and would try to kill him. However, he did not expect that the other party would be able to find him so quickly. It was indeed beyond his expectations. Could it be that he had left behind some flaws? Brat, it seems that you're very confused. No matter how good you are at hiding, can you hide from the Great Void technique? Don't forget that this purple cloud city is the territory of the Gu family. Hearing this, Lin Xian's frown deepened. The Great Void technique? Could it be that the Gu family had made a move? But it shouldn't be. The ancient cultivator had just given him a purple cloud token, indicating that he wanted to rope him in. Why would he send someone to find him and assist the 10,000 Thunder Saint? But soon, he figured it out. Because for a large clan of the ancients like the Gu family, its internal factions must be complicated. The ancient cultivator's faction showed that they wanted to rope him in, but other factions might be on the same side as the 10,000 Thunder Saint. So that's how it is. You actually found the Gu family as a helper. It seems that in order to hunt me down, you really put in a lot of effort. Lin Xian said coldly. It's good that you know. The 10,000 Thunder Saints snorted. Brat, quickly hand over the innate purple thunderstone if you know what's good for you. Then, obediently surrender and wait for my judgment. Otherwise, I can guarantee that you'll end up very miserably. Surrender and be captured? Hearing this, Lin Xian snorted. Do you really think you can defeat me? Do it if you can. It's not too late to say these words after you've caught me. Humph, you're really stubborn. Brat, who do you think you are? How dare you talk to the saint like that? Reckless fool. It seems that I still need to teach you a lesson personally. At this moment, a man in green walked out of the crowd in front of him. He looked to be in his 20s. His whole body was extremely strong, and a cold light flickered on his body. A terrifying aura soared into the sky like a sharp sword. Who are you? Quickly tell me your name. If not, then hurry up and get lost. You're not worthy of my attack. Lin Xian shouted coldly, his voice filled with a biting, cold, murderous intent. You're courting death. The man in green roared angrily. He had never been looked down upon like this before. Therefore, when he heard Lin Xian's words, he was also furious. In the next moment, he decisively attacked. With a wave of his arm, streaks of sharp light surged out and turned into a long rainbow in the sky, quickly attacking Lin Xian. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, and a bright light bloomed in his eyes. He realized that the divine rainbow was a flying knife. It was extremely sharp, and its bright light illuminated the entire space. Not only was the light bright, but the terrifying energy it carried was also shocking. A hidden weapon expert. Lin Xian frowned. He rarely met such a person. The other party had cultivated to the king realm, and his cultivation was as high as a 6-star king. At this moment, each of the hidden weapons he used was extremely terrifying. In the next moment, countless divine red lights completely enveloped Lin Xian. Then, terrifying energy exploded, forming a 5-colored light that enveloped the front. Humph, what expert! You're nothing in front of me. The man in green sneered, looking very proud. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. This was because the 5-colored light in front of him dissipated, and the void quickly healed. However, Lin Xian's figure was nowhere to be seen. How is this possible? The man in green could not believe it. The speed of his hidden weapons was extremely fast. Even a 6-star king could not dodge them. Moreover, there were so many of them. Even if the other party could dodge, he would definitely be severely injured. However, there was no blood flowing in the sky in front of him at all. There was also no pungent smell of blood in the void. This meant that the other party was not injured at all. What was going on? The man in green frowned. He realized that things were beyond his expectations. Whoosh! In the next moment, the void fluctuated, and Lin Xian's figure appeared very close to the man in green. I actually came here. Chapter 1848. The man in green was shocked. He did not expect Lin Fan to dodge his attack and come to his side. He had not discovered anything yet. This shocked him so much that even his hair stood on end. Buzz. In the next moment, he hurriedly activated his king's domain to cover his body and form a strong defensive barrier. Many dazzling flying daggers circled in front of him, ready to be launched at any time. Die, brat! The man in green roared crazily as hundreds of flying daggers rushed out in front of him. The terrifying power shattered the entire void. This attack was so terrifying that even a 6-star king would not be able to block it. However, all of this was useless against Lin Xian. Due to Lin Xian's incredible speed, he managed to evade all of the hidden weapons and arrived before the man in green. Boom! In the next moment, the Armageddon Black Dragon fist rushed out and a violent aura spread in all directions. Even the flying daggers and hidden weapons nearby were all shattered. Nothing could stop it. What? Seeing this, the man in green's face changed drastically. He did not expect Lin Fan to be so fast. This time, the distance was very close. No one below the Almighty could dodge it. However, Lin Fan had completely dodged it. He was not even hurt by a single flying dagger. This was simply too inconceivable. Moreover, Lin Fan's terrifying fist made the man's hair stand on end. In the next moment, he opened his mouth and spat out a silver shield. It quickly enlarged and blocked his side. Not only that, but a set of green armor appeared on his body. Starlight flickered and formed a radiance that covered the sky, enveloping his body. Boom. However, he had underestimated the Armageddon Black Dragon Fist. This incomparably terrifying fist had a destructive aura. It was as if it could kill even gods and Buddhas. Therefore, in an instant, the silver shield in front of the man in green was shattered into pieces. Boom. After shattering the silver shield, the Armageddon Black Dragon Fist did not stop at all. It turned into a black dragon and roared. In an instant, it enveloped the man in green. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying vibrations were heard. The radiance that filled the sky with violent power swept out in all directions. The green armor on the man in green was dented. Not only that, the man in green spat out a mouthful of blood and his entire body exploded. What? Kill him with one punch? The kings behind him were all stunned when they saw this scene. They could not believe that such a powerful green-clothed youth was killed by a single punch. What kind of strength was this? Who else? Come at me if you want to fight me one-on-one. Of course, if all of you attack at the same time, then I'll take you on as well. Lin Xian's voice was like thunder, spreading in all directions. He had the heavenly dragon's 8 steps, which was his maximum speed. Therefore, no matter how many people there were, as long as he wanted to leave, no one would be able to stop him. Humph, brat, you're really arrogant. Let me kill you. Right at this moment, another cold shout sounded out. Then, a man in yellow flew over quickly. The surrounding cultivators did not immediately make a move. Instead, they watched this scene with sneers on their faces. Because as far as they were concerned, this place had already been surrounded by them, and it was impossible for the other party to escape. Therefore, it was only a matter of time before they made their move. Moreover, they also wanted to see just how strong the other party was. The yellow-clothed youth came to the opposite side of Lin Xian. He was wearing an ancient battle suit, which shone with a cold light. Brat, no matter how strong you are, it's useless in front of my battle suit. The yellow-clothed youth sneered. His black battle suit was not an ordinary treasure, but an extremely powerful defensive treasure. Therefore, although he had seen Lin Xian kill the green-clothed youth, he still dared to stand up at this moment. It was because of the battle suit on his body. It's just a piece of battle suit. Do you really think it can save you? Lin Xian sneered, then attacked again. Raging Dragon rips the sky. He punched out, and the shadow of a black dragon appeared in the sky. It quickly waved its dragon claws, forming a terrifying spatial crack that swept forward. Clang, clang, clang. The spatial crack hit the yellow-clothed youth, producing a metallic sound. Suddenly, the black battle armor on the yellow-clothed young man emitted a dazzling light, forming strange runes that completely covered his body. It fought against the terrifying spatial crack, but it was unharmed. What a powerful battle suit. The surrounding kings were moved when they saw this scene. The yellow-clothed youth raised his head and laughed. Ha ha ha, brat, did you see that? Your attack is useless in front of me. Now, have a taste of my attack. The yellow-clothed youth sneered. Then he pulled out a silver battle axe and slashed it forward. Boom! The axe fell, breaking the void. Not only that, but a huge crescent arc appeared in the sky, accompanied by countless silver lightning bolts. The axe seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. It was terrifying. Whoosh! Lin Xian used his movement skill again and dodged the shocking axe. He came to a safe place, but he frowned slightly. He had to admit that his opponent's black battle suit was indeed terrifying. The powerful black destruction dragon did not have any effect on it. This was the first time that Lin Xian had seen it. It was indeed a treasure that tempted him. The next moment, he sneered. Since you're here to give me a treasure, I'll accept it. With that, his body swayed and he rushed forward. You're courting death. The yellow-clothed youth was furious. His opponent dared to covet his battle suit. He was courting death. One had to know that with this armor in hand, Even if he were to fight against a chosen, he would be able to retreat with ease. He could even escape if he encountered an almighty. That was because the black battle suit was given to him by an almighty in his family. That terrifying power made him invincible even before the battle began. With such a powerful battle suit, his opponent dared to fight him in close combat. He was courting death. He must be out of his mind. Brat, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The yellow-clothed youth sneered and waved the silver battle axe in his hand, slashing in all directions. He was not afraid of anyone in close combat. Buzz. The next moment, Lin Xin appeared behind the yellow-clothed youth. Then, he threw a punch. Boom, boom, boom. A destructive aura surged out and rushed forward. The yellow-clothed youth felt the terrifying power behind him and suddenly turned around. To be honest, he was shocked because his opponent was too fast. However, he was not afraid at all because he knew that his opponent's fist could not hurt him. If his opponent could not break through his defense, it would be futile no matter how fast he was. Therefore, he took the punch head-on and did not dodge at all. The next moment, he was hit by the energy and flew backward. Chapter 1849. However, he was only sent flying backward. There was no injury on his body. Furthermore, the black cloak battle armor had even neutralized the remaining energy waves. The young man in yellow only stopped after he had retreated more than 1,000 meters. Then, he turned around to face Lin Xian and laughed. Haha, boy, don't waste your energy. Any of your attacks are useless against me. Is that so? Lin Xian sneered. He took a step forward and arrived in front of the young man again. At this time, his back was facing the holy son of myriad thunder and the others. Thus, a golden light appeared in his eyes. Buzz. Heavenly secret godly eyes. At this moment, Lin Xian finally used this terrifying eye technique. This is? The young man in yellow finally changed his expression because he realized that this time, his opponent did not use a violent fist attack. Instead, it formed a pair of golden eyes. He knew that this was a soul attack. It was extremely strange and impossible to guard against. The next moment, he wanted to scream and run away, but he could not do so at all, because when his gaze landed on the golden eyes, he was completely stunned. The young man in yellow was stunned when he saw Lin Xian's golden eyes. The next moment, he felt that his soul was sucked away by the golden eyes and then entered a special space. What the people outside saw was that the young man in yellow suddenly stopped in midair. He did not move at all and even gave up resisting. Then, Lin Xian snorted and waved his hand. Suddenly, a shocking saber light slashed across and cut the young man's head open. Poof! Blood splattered and dyed the sky red. Lin Xian, on the other hand, grabbed the headless corpse and shook it forcefully, shattering it into pieces. Then, he grabbed the black cloak battle armor in his hand. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile when he sensed the terrifying energy coming from the black armor. This is really good stuff. I'll take it. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Even the holy son of myriad thunder's mind went blank. He could not figure out how Lin Xian succeeded. He recognized that yellow-clothed young man, and he was a genius disciple of a great clan in the Northern Territory. Moreover, he had the black cloak battle armor that was passed down by a powerful figure in his family. It could be said that his defense was unparalleled. Even he would find it difficult to kill him. But now, the yellow-clothed youth had been killed. Moreover, he was killed so easily. There wasn't even any resistance. Damn it, what the hell happened before? Everyone was shocked and puzzled. This was because they had no idea what had happened at that moment that caused the yellow-clothed young man to actually give up on resisting. Just as they were puzzled, on the other side, Lin Xian used his powerful soul power to erase the soul imprint on the armor. Then, with a wave of his hand, the armor quickly enlarged and covered his body. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The black battle armor blossomed with light, taking on the shape of Lin Xian's body. Then, it flickered with an ice-cold radiance. Haha, this is indeed a good item. Lin Xian was overjoyed. He could naturally feel the strength of this battle armor. Previously, Even his black dragon fist could not easily cause damage to it. One could imagine how terrifying this armor was. He was afraid that with this battle armor, he could withstand the attack of a powerful figure. Lin Xian even had the confidence to fight with a powerful figure now. The next moment, he turned to look ahead and said in a cold voice, "Who else has treasures in their hands? Send them to me. Today, I'll take them all." To be honest, he was really happy today because these people who followed the holy son of Myriad Thunder to hunt him down were all powerful geniuses. Everyone had treasures in their hands, and some of these treasures were very useful to him, such as the black cloak battle armor. If he could get it, it would definitely improve his strength again. Even if he killed the holy daughter of all beginnings in the future, it would greatly increase his chances of winning. Therefore, Lin Xian was very happy. Hearing Lin Xian's words, those people in front fell silent. Because he had killed two powerful geniuses in a row and displayed his powerful strength, they had to take him seriously. However, some people could not help but think that he was too arrogant. Damn boy, how dare he be so arrogant? I'll kill him. At this moment, someone finally could not help but prepare to take action. It was a middle-aged man who had reached 700 or 800 years old. He belonged to the older generation and was extremely powerful. He was far from being comparable to an ordinary young king. Seeing the older generation expert take action, many people breathed a sigh of relief, because they knew that the middle-aged man's strength was absolutely terrifying. They thought that the other party would not be able to block it. The middle-aged man had blue hair and was dressed in black. He strode forward. His footsteps were so heavy that the void trembled as if a mountain was walking in the air. After the middle-aged man walked out, he brought with him a powerful aura. However, the holy son of Myriad Thunder was still worried, so he handed over the Hell God's spear in his hand. "Senior, use this as a weapon." "Well, in that case, I'll borrow it first." The blue-haired middle-aged man took the Hell God's spear with a sneer on his chiseled face. "Brat, to be able to die to this artifact, you should be proud. You should know that this Hell God spear is very terrifying. It has killed more than one powerful figure. What? It really is that treasure." After hearing this, the surrounding kings widened their eyes in shock and fear. Previously, they felt that the black spear was very familiar, but they did not expect it to have such a terrifying origin. Indeed, the Hell God spear was very evil. It was pitch black like black jade, and they did not know what material it was made of. Moreover, it was engraved with mysterious Tao runes that flowed with a cold light. It could easily tear the void apart with a gentle shake. One could imagine how terrifying the power of this divine spear would be if it was activated with great magic power. It has killed a powerful figure before. On the other side, Lin Xian also frowned. He could naturally sense the terrifying aura of the black divine spear. The next moment, he drew out the 9 darkness demonic sword and was ready to fight with all his strength. "Useless boy, don't resist. With my strength and the Hell God spear, you have no power to resist at all." Seeing Lin Xian draw his sword and still want to resist, the blue-haired middle-aged man showed a look of disdain. In his current state, he was confident that he could fight against a powerful figure, let alone a young boy. Therefore, in the next moment, he was ready to attack Lin Xian. On the other side, Lin Xian also made his move. The next moment, Lin Xian took a step forward. Then, the entire void began to tremble rapidly as if it was being pressed down by a huge mountain. It could not withstand this force at all. Not only that, a sharp sword wave erupted from Lin Xian's body and swept in all directions. The terrifying energy caused the surrounding people's faces to change. Chapter 1850. Not only that, a sharp sword wave erupted from Lin Xian's body and swept out in all directions. The terrifying energy caused everyone's expression to change. Humph! On the opposite side, the blue-haired middle-aged man's pupils shrank. He could naturally feel that Lin Xian's strength had increased again. This was unbelievable to him. He knew that he couldn't wait any longer. He had to act quickly. Boom! Therefore, in the next moment, He waved the black spear in his hand and turned it into demonic shadows that charged toward Lin Xian. The Hell God spear was extremely black and carried a strange demonic power that seemed to be able to kill gods and Buddhas. Boom, boom, boom. Wherever it passed, the void collapsed rapidly. The black spear carried boundless flames that enveloped the entire sky. Lin Xian took a deep breath and clenched the nine darkness demonic sword in his hand. Then, he slashed forward. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The nine darkness demonic sword expanded in the wind and turned into a giant sword that was hundreds of feet long. It was like a black mountain that was abnormally heavy. The sword was engraved with demonic runes that contained a supreme, murderous aura. What a terrifying demonic sword! All the surrounding kings were extremely shocked when they saw this scene. They realized that the demonic sword in Lin Xian's hand was too terrifying. It didn't seem to be any weaker than the Hell God spear. Damn it! Who is this kid? Why does he have so many treasures in his hands? The demonic sword was at least an upper-grade Earth-rank treasure, or even stronger. Fortunately, the blue demon Taoist was using the Hell God spear. Otherwise, this battle would be unpredictable. Discussions broke out. Obviously, everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's move. Boom. On the battlefield, Lin Xian waved the hundreds of feet-long demonic sword and quickly stood up. The entire sky collapsed in an instant. The terrifying black spear radiance and the boundless flames started to tremble violently. Then, the two collided. Boom, 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 boom. Like a thunderclap, the terrifying energy spread out in all directions. At this moment, even the myriad Thunder Saint's expression changed. Fortunately, before he came, he had set up layers upon layers of formations around the area, which were able to conceal his aura. Otherwise, just this vibration alone would alarm all the experts in the entire Purple Cloud City. If a mighty being like the ancient cultivators were to come, they would definitely protect Lin Xian. At that time, he wouldn't be able to do anything. In front of him, Lin Xian slashed down 8 times in a row. The huge black sword chi split apart all the flames and spear lights that filled the sky. Looking at this scene, the blue-haired middle-aged man couldn't believe it. The fact that the other party was able to contend against him was simply unbelievable. Damn it, who the hell is this kid? He's actually so powerful. The blue-haired middle-aged man's face turned gloomy. He realized that he had underestimated the other party. The other party's strength was absolutely terrifying and not inferior to his. In addition, the terrifying demon sword was on par with the Hell God spear. This battle could be said to be a fierce struggle between dragons and tigers, with both sides evenly matched. However, not long after, the middle-aged man's face turned even darker. He realized that his opponent's strength was getting stronger and stronger, and his arm was getting numb. The Hell God's spear in his hand almost flew out. This really shocked him to the core. Kid, I'm really angry now. This battle is over. The blue-haired middle-aged man roared and held the Hell God's spear with both hands. In the next moment, he used the Hell God's spear as a long saber and slashed down fiercely. Buzz. The black demonic shadow soared into the sky like a black sun and quickly enveloped Lin Xian. The majestic power surged down and was unimaginable. The light and shadow was like a river that reached the 9 heavens. It was endless and nothing could stop it. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he waved the 9 darkness demonic sword in his hand. Immediately, a series of mysterious trails appeared, carrying a murderous aura that soared into the sky. The dragon's sword field appeared and enveloped the surroundings. The sword chi that filled the sky was like raging waves hitting the shore, piercing through the void. Sky Splitter, Earth Splitter, Demon Extermination. At the same time, Lin Xian slashed out 3 sword chi. The terrifying sword light slashed forward. These 3 sword chi were comprehended by Lin Xian from the giant sword in the oblique moon mystic world. Its power was extremely terrifying and could destroy the experts in the world. At this moment, when he used it, it was even more powerful. Buzz. The first sword broke the black spear shadow that filled the sky. The second sword directly knocked the Hell God spear away. The third sword cut the blue-haired middle-aged man into 2 halves. After the third sword, everything disappeared. The two halves of the corpse fell to the ground and blood dyed the ground red. The hell god's spear fell from the sky and stabbed into the ground, trembling non-stop. As it swayed, cracks began to appear in the surrounding void. Originally, Lin Xian wanted to snatch it, but the Thousand Thunder Saint was faster. It was his treasure, and he could not afford to lose it. So he kept an eye on it. When the Hell God's spear was knocked away, he had already made his move and quickly snatched the Hell God's spear back. The next moment, his face was gloomy. Holding the Hell God's spear in his hand, he pointed forward and shouted coldly, "All of you, attack together and kill him. Kill!" When the surrounding kings heard the order, they no longer hesitated and roared. A powerful aura surged from their bodies, and they quickly charged forward. To be honest, the previous 3 battles were too shocking. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful and far exceeded their expectations. In a one-on-one battle, no one was a match for him. But so what? This time, they had a large number of kings. If they joined forces, they would definitely be able to kill him. Finally, all of you are attacking together? Then I'll play with you. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then, the dragon sword realm quickly expanded and shrouded everyone. The sword chi that filled the sky was bright and sharp as it fell mercilessly. Kid, you're too arrogant. You want to fight against so many kings by yourself? You're courting death. When the kings saw this, they immediately sneered. They also opened their king realm and collided with the dragon sword realm. They might not be a match for one person, but with so many of them attacking together, no matter how powerful the opponent was, he would not be able to resist. Unless the opponent was a real almighty. Boom! A terrifying collision sound rang out, and a huge crack appeared in the void. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul in his body roared, and a dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in front of him. The dragon sword realm was also activated to the extreme. The sharp light was like a divine red as it quickly slashed in all directions. Puff! In an instant, 5 kings were sent flying. A huge crack appeared in their king realm, and it looked like they were about to be cut in half. How is he so powerful? Seeing this, the eyelids of the surrounding kings twitched. They did not expect that even if they joined forces, they would not be able to kill the opponent in an instant. This was too terrifying. Hurry up and attack together. Kill him. Otherwise, no one will be able to rest easy in the future. An expert roared and prepared to attack with all his strength. The others also roared. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.